There you go. All right. We live now. Now, we're going to wait, let the people come on in. I've been battling already. The joint ain't even start. Miss T going at me. She done brought help. She got her sister Mina with her. You know what I mean? I don't know which way baby gonna go or tomorrow, because you know Miss T quick to turn a chick. You know what I mean? Let's just call it that. You know what I mean? Miss T quick to turn a chick to go against me, but I'm not tripping because I got my man Hassan to hold me down. I got my little man Michael Graham. You know what I mean? Everything is in, man. You know, the numbers jumped up quick, so I ain't got to run my mouth too much longer. But I just want y'all to know, yo, Miss T, all that moving you're doing back there that I'm looking at you and Hassan, y'all need to get that right. Sit yourself in front of the camera. Let's do this proper. Because I'm getting ready to bring them up, and we're going to do what we do. All right? And Miss T, I'm going to take it easy on you tonight. All right? Because I already know. But now, let me bring up my partner in crime. He busy looking all around, so I'm going to bring him up later when he get right. You know what I mean? So we're going to bring up a young man, 19 years old, because I wanted y'all to hear the younger people speak as well. You know what I mean? So I try to mix it up. You know what I mean? Tamara, she looked pretty young herself. She might be fooling me. You know what I mean? But she definitely looked young. You know, I got a couple of cuties for y'all today. All the women is beautiful. All right, let's bring my man up. Yo, Mike, tell him who you are, where you from, big bro.
What's good, OG? Yeah, man, my name is Mike. I'm about 19 years old, out of Durham, North Carolina. I'm officially known as Official G-Co. I'm an artist, content creator for Black women. You can follow me on TikTok. I got over 118,000 beautiful Black women following me, and I make music specifically and only for beautiful Black women. So you know the vibes. Go ahead, you can hit my IG. It's Official G-Co, OFFICIAL GIC0E. You know what I'm saying? So watch out for me, because you're gonna see me a lot.
I like that. My man sound like he rolling with me. All right, I got some help. You sound like old professional 21. You see how I pick up? This how we gonna show the young men how they supposed to conduct themselves. I'm gonna be that wild animal from back in the day, so I'm letting y'all know now. I'm getting ready to let the animal out the cage. So Mike, you might have to ride with Miss T to tame me.
I got you.
You know what I mean? So I'm gonna jump out there, you know, but you're gonna show them how the respectable young men carry it, while I be the respectful youngin' from back in the 80s and the 90s, because we still got it in 2020. You feel what I'm saying? All right. Just so y'all can witness this, so we see where we at. So now let me bring up, you know, Miss T's nemesis before I bring up Miss T. You know, maybe she want to cop deuces on me and, you know, agree for me to take it easy on her. All right. Tell them who you are, sis.
Grand evening, King. My name is Mina. I am from Georgia by way of Michigan. I am an RNBS and I own a private equity firm. And I'm here to give my very alpha female opinion.
I sound like we're gonna buck heads already, but I ain't tripping. I might have to get help. You know what I mean? So now, go ahead.
You can get all the help you need.
Okay. Well, I know this ain't gonna be my help, but I'm gonna bring her up anyway, because I ain't no hater. Introduce yourself, sis.
My name is Fabeo Watkins. I am from New York, Harlem to be exact, and recently retired, and excited to be here.
Okay. We're going to see if you feel the same way in 30 minutes. That's cool. You know what I mean? Now, let me bring this young one up right here too, man. Let's get this up here. Tell them who you are, sis. You got to unmute your mic. Your mic is unmute, yeah.
I should know better than that. Hey, everybody. My name is Tamara Ivy. I'm from Brooklyn. Lived in Harlem for 2 years. Born and raised in Brooklyn. My family's Grenadian. I work in marketing, Ashley Stewart corporate office. So if you've seen some Ashley Stewart stuff going on in Harlem, any events or any of the Ashley Stewart stores, I'm the one that produces all those events in stores and has taken Ashley Stewart to where it is today. And I love Miss T and what Mr. Unique is doing on social, because I've been following Miss T for a little while, and that's how I actually, you know, started following the movement of what you guys have been doing on social, and you guys are moving fast, and I love it.
You already know. And you know what?
Yeah.
I like you because you sat there and just said some cocky shit. Anything in Harlem, you're responsible for. That sounds real unique.
Yes, honey. Yes, Brooklyn. You know, we love Harlem. We do. We really do. And there's some of us that people think that okay, she got a little Harlem or he got a little Harlem, but there's nobody that does it better than you guys. You know, y'all represent and y'all flossy and y'all. We love Harlem. I have a lot of respect for you guys, and I love what you guys are doing.
There you go. We got a lot of respect for Brooklyn as well. That's what makes the whole world go around, because everybody's different and all come together and we make one movement. You know what I mean? Because we even got Michigan in the house. I'm gonna start with her early. You know what I'm saying? Now let's bring my partner in crime up. All right, there you go, Big Haas. Your mic muted, man.
Good evening, everyone. I'm a Big Haas from Harlem. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to represent unique and represent positivity.
All right. Now we're gonna bring the last up here, man. You know what I mean? But one of the best. You know what I mean? My buddy from way back, she been attacking me for years. I mean, we ain't gonna get in what she did this week, but she ain't. That's Miss T. All right.
Yo, it's crazy. What's up, y'all? I'm Miss T from Harlem. Tamara, it's nice to meet you, baby.
Yes,
nice to meet you.
I love everything. I love her name, everything, Miss T.
Hey, Tamara, she's trying to recruit you early. I'm just letting you know she's trying to recruit you early.
It's all right.
I need the proper
all right.
I gotta get my baby gal up here, man. Hey, baby gal, we can send a little joint.
Right.
I'm gonna need help.
Absolutely.
But we're gonna let you go ahead. Bring your question tomorrow. You kick this off.
So I was on Don Divas earlier, and a girl was on there. She was so upset that she went on a date. The guy, she said she was turned off by the guy. They went to McDonald's. This is where I got turned off. She went to McDonald's with the guy to go get her children some food before she went on her date with him. And then she said to herself, she was like, you know what? Because of that, you're not getting no, And I'm like, sis, you are on.
She said not getting no. She said he's
PUSSY.
No, she said that.
Yes.
Because he refused to pay for the kid?
McDonald's.
He refused to pay for the McDonald's for the child of the girl that he's out with.
Miss T's not having it. Yes.
I'm not having it. She should have got up and walked the hell out right there. That wasn't even no discussion. You know what type of dude that is. That's not even a red flag. That's a burning building.
Exactly.
On the side,
Because she felt that if he couldn't buy McDonald's on the first date, she was just asking him, can you run me? I think she said what she specifically said was, can you run me through the drive-through? So I guess he ran her through the drive-through, but wasn't expecting to pay, and was upset that she was upset that he didn't want to pay for the McDonald's. And she said, it's not about the cost of the food, but it's the fact that, it's for my child. So, if we're on a date and the future is for us to be together, then and you don't want to buy nothing for the child, then what's the problem? Where are we gonna go? This is telling her future, she said.
All right. But go ahead, Miss T. I'm gonna let you jump off, because you're gonna ride with that. Then I got my little twisted back in the day, where I know where he coming from.
No.
You know what I mean? So we're gonna let you go, Miss T.
I'm like at a loss for words, surprisingly.
Wow.
I'm not.
That's just I mean, I don't know. Oh my gosh, so crazy to me. And then she said, if we are expected to have a future together. Now I need to know how long they were dating. You know what I'm saying? You talking about future together. Obviously, he hasn't met your kids because he don't even want to feed them.
She said it's a first
date. So you're talking about a future with somebody.
She said it's a first black.
It's a first date. You talking about a future with somebody. So it's like you already jumping the gun.
Thank you. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm already at a loss about McDonald's, because I stopped my daughter from eating McDonald's at 5 years old. If you gonna F with me, then we gonna go. If she hungry, we gonna get her something from the restaurant somewhere and get her McDonald's. You think I'm a trip because a dude don't want to buy my McDonald's?
Black.
No. I'm mad at him for not wanting to pay for it. But it wouldn't have been McDonald's.
Well, I'm going
in the
to
first
defend
goddamn place.
When y'all done, I'm going to defend
Crazy.
you.
No, can I say something? May I say something?
Yeah, please.
May I
Somebody.
say something?
Because I'm
Okay,
just confused.
First of all, a first date, my children never met a first date. You got to be careful, and I may be being the devil's advocate over here. Why are you bringing your children on a first date? And that's the problem. You can't expose your children to men and women that you don't even know.
Right.
She don't even know this person. So I'm not necessarily mad at him. I'm mad at her. Because why would you bring your children on a date with someone you're trying to get to know? My sons, the only men that ever came into their lives was their. I have two children. My oldest son's father passed away. Was their fathers, right? Anybody I was dating, involved with, they never met them until I established what we were. So I'm not really mad at him. I'm upset with her.
Okay, I like that. You know, me and my little man Mike 19, we gonna go at it because I'm gonna be that back in the day player, and he gonna be that 2020 gentleman. You know what I mean? So don't hold me responsible for my old player mentality, because that's not where I'm at today. You know what I mean? Now, if one of you ladies would like to finish up and comment on that, or Hans, go ahead, then I'm gonna be that old back in the day player, and I understand where he was coming from. Not saying I agree with it today, but I understand where he comes from. I'm gonna show you a whole different.
I found
y'all left a lot out.
Yes, girl.
well, you know, I have to agree with Mina. I agree with Mina. You know, first of all, the child should have been on the first date in the first place. But you know, whether it's a first date or not, when someone asks you to feed a child, that's your obligation. You're obligated to do that. Wherever you feed them, whether they ask for a bag of chips, whatever, you know what I'm saying, you're obligated to feed that child. You know what I mean? So you know that's just how it is. You know, and the fact that he felt that he didn't feel obligated to it, you know, shows a sense of his character, and the lack of hers on the fact that she should have screened him before he even met the child. He should be nowhere near the child. You know what I mean? Because if he don't want to feed the child, then imagine what else could possibly happen. You know what I'm saying? Because that shows you where his heart is at. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? Yeah. So what happens is that she has to be more selective and more, in terms about how she's operating and what she's doing, especially exposed to that child. Because today is McDonald's. You know what I mean? That you found that it was a bad guy. You don't need to find out it was a bad guy in a worse situation. You know what I mean? Because you didn't protect the child. You know what I'm saying? In that regard. So that's what I have to say on it.
Miss P, you found it. What you go to her interview?
You want to say something, baby? You want to say something on that, or you know?
I mean, I just heard the first part where she said McDonald's and they having a conversation about. I had to find her so I can look at this thing later.
Okay. Baby, you got something to say about that?
Fabaya.
Yeah, I'm here.
Huh?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
So my thing is, like, I was discussing this with Haas earlier.
Can you turn your mic up just a little bit?
Say that again.
See if you can turn your mic up just a little bit, please.
Okay.
All right.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that I was sharing with Haas earlier was that I just don't think that we as a generation of people know how to date and know how to choose. So, we get off at 4, 5, and 6, but we don't even start at 1, 2, and 3. You know what I mean? I think that there's a way to date and choose somebody that you're interested in. And I think that I've witnessed, people, put more effort into what they wear than the people they court. So, I mean, on that note, the whole McDonald's thing, I mean, it's funny in a way, because the part of the issue was him not wanting to pay, but the other part is her bringing her kid to a first date.
Okay.
I'm not sure if she brought the kid or whatever. I think the whole thing was for her to say what it's the way she said it in the sequel of the interview. You know, everybody had something to say about, you know, how she, like the guys didn't, the young guys, they just didn't, they wasn't here for it. They was like, I'm not buying your kids food. That's not what I want to do. A lot of the times, today's man is not yesterday's man. You know, I'm just gonna keep it real. You know, I'm like I said, I lived in Brooklyn and Harlem, and Brooklyn men are way different from Harlem men. And Harlem men, to me, there's no question. You know, there's like they're gonna do it. It's not a discussion. You know, stuff like that is just done. You know, it's in Brooklyn, it's a little bit more 9-to-5 lifestyle. You know, there's a budget. We have to stay within it. That type of thing. You know, even when it comes to kids, you can't have this, you can't have that. Certain things you gotta stay within the budget. It's more different. And I've been married for 14 years. Okay, so you know, it's a little different. Harlem guys, they just don't think, they just do. You know, and that's just how it is. It's a different lifestyle, the dressing, culture, everything.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. You still married? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I'm gonna take it easy on you. I don't want your man after. Now let me break this down from a player's point of view. Y'all missing the man's point of view from a young player that's out trying to do him point of view. Okay, but I ain't even say no. You ready to go? Go. You ready to tell me I said something wrong? I didn't even say what I had to say yet. You're warming up. Thank you. Just zip that.
I'm listening real good.
All right. But listen, now, y'all pay attention for real. Y'all pay attention to this because I want y'all to understand how players think. You know what I mean? Now, it could have been a number of situations. Let's say I'm the man coming up. I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm defending him. You understand? He might have been driving down the street, seen Shorty walking by. She had a little baby tugging by the side. She looked cold. He looked cold. You know what I mean? But she wearing expensive boots, expensive bag. You know how the baby mamas do. You know what I mean? When they get that government check, they're going to go buy their Gucci and Fendi too. So you know she was probably looking good, especially if he stopped to pick her up, put her in the car. So she wasn't no ugly chick. So she probably looked like the part that she got some money. So he might have said, oh man, I see you got your child with you. Would you like me to drop you off somewhere so you don't have to wait for a bus? You know what I mean? And she says yes and get in. And say, oh, well, would you mind taking me by McDonald's so that I could get something for me and my child before we go home? And he said, yes, no problem. He pulls up at McDonald's, and instead of her dipping in that Gucci bag, she looking at him like because he picked her up, he owe her something. You know what I mean? And he's looking at her like, if I buy this kid something, you owe me some boom boom. You know what I mean? Let's get this right. I'm just keeping it 100. You know what I mean? This is where he's thinking. Because when he's seen her, you don't know where he picked her up from. You know, and like Shorty up there, Mina said, the baby ain't supposed to be there. You know what I mean? So you ain't supposed to get in the car with a strange dude with a baby in the first place. You know what I mean? Right. So if she picked up on the street and he didn't have a baby with it, but we know he ain't supposed to be there. Take it off. Pay attention when I'm talking up here tomorrow. Because you one of the young ones.
I'm doing the same thing you're doing. I'm listening to you.
Huh?
I'm doing the same thing you're doing. You said you were smoking. I said, well, I might as well.
All right. So this is where we at. So you don't know what was going on because now she said, "Oh, could you pass by McDonald's? I like it." So in his mind, he's just going to McDonald's. And then now all of a sudden, she probably looked at him on stink because she's thinking in her mind, "Oh, he got to know he gonna pay for this meal. He got my face there, sitting with this expensive Gucci bag." You know what I mean? I just left you neat. You know what I mean? I got a pocket full of money. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to spend the money you gave me because this dude is trying to holler. You know what I mean? So then here he go, and he's sitting there and he pulls up in the McDonald's. They ask for the money. He's driving, so he's got the
Huh? What?
I can hear what you're doing right there. Listen, let me finish. So now he's in the driver's seat. So they're gonna look at him for the money. So he probably just looked over at her because she said, "Take me to McDonald's." He's thinking that she's going to hand him a 20 or 10 or whatever the Happy Meal costs. But he don't have a problem paying for it. But she probably looked at him with old stink ass attitude, like, "Nigga, you not gonna pay for this meal?" And he's like, "Hold up, bitch. You ain't telling me nothing about paying for no meal. I just picked you up for the bus stop. You lucky I ain't leave your old broke cold ass because your shoes is really worn down and you need a new pair. I don't know what you're doing messing with Unique if he ain't get your new pair of shoes. And then she want to pull out the money, flash on. No, you gave me a pocket full of money. So he said, okay, you broke ass. Well, you pay for the meal. You talking about you gave you a pocket full of money. You don't know how it went. But y'all want to go ahead, man. Michael, come on and get me, Michael. You got that, Michael. 19 at me. 2020. Yo, unmute him, man. Yo, is he stuck? Is he lost?
I mean, I think personally you should be. I think personally you shouldn't be bringing your kid on the first date. I think, especially with the way the world is right now, I don't think you should be letting your children meet any type of person outside of your immediate family, if that. But I would say, like, from a moral point of view, like, I was raised pretty much like 2-parent household. Like, I know how to take care of women. Like, regardless of if that was my kid or not, I'd be like, okay, cool. Like, that wouldn't seem like a huge issue to me. But at the same time, like, I think I get the fact that taking your kid on a date or whatever, like, you want somebody to see you for who you are. Like, you want them to be like, this is my world. If you want me, you got to meet my world. But not everybody deserves access to your world at the same time. So I definitely think that, in a sense, she definitely overstepped her bounds, expecting him to pay for something that he didn't expect either. You know what I'm saying? It's cool to say, oh, I have a kid. Like, I got a bunch of friends who are close to me who are single mothers. Like, I watch out for their kids all the time. Like, that ain't nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's love. But at the same time, you can't have an attitude where you expect somebody to do something if that's not originally what they signed up for. Because technically he just wanted your time, but then you brought in your time and your world. He didn't really ask for that. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think that both sides is kind of off. He should have just been able to pay for that. Like, real talk, it's McDonald's, yo. Like, if you don't even have finances, you shouldn't be trying to hop in the dating pool in the first place. Like, you have to punch that 9 to 5 and hit that clock for a little bit. But at the same time, like, if your priorities aren't straight, like, in terms of other stuff in regards to your kid, you also shouldn't be dating either. You know what I'm saying? Like, prioritize some things first. You know what I'm saying? Also, like, do a little bit more screening. Facts, if you asked on a date, you're not paying for the meal, because obviously if you ask somebody out and you can't pay for the date, dating is not limited to just a restaurant, which is what I feel like a lot of people get confused too.
Okay,
like, I'm taking like picnics. You can do stuff that's free, but it's also quality time. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think he could have finessed it. He could have been like, oh, word, you got a kid, let's go on a picnic. Like, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go to a park or whatever, even though she shouldn't have brought her son in the first place. But I think it's just a hot mess, like, from both sides in general. Like, real talk, especially with McDonald's. You know what I'm saying?
But let's say she didn't. I don't think she brought him on the date. I think she was asking him before they. I think it was after her date with him. She was asking to buy food for her child before she got home.
I would have done that. Like, I would have got the food. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, I definitely would have got the food. I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. Because the thing is, you also got to realize where she's coming from as a single mother. Because the thing is, it's harder for single mothers out here too. Like, just being a woman.
But what I didn't like was when she was like, you know, like, I know he's not getting the PU. It's like, come on, sis. Like, he already fed. He already fed you.
I think this is one thing. I feel like if you truly value yourself, then your body should not be something that you barter with in the first place. There shouldn't be an exchange or an expected for nothing. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's definitely where, within our generation right now, or just in the generation in general, like, everything leads up to that and then nothing else. You know what I'm saying? So personally, I think that her saying that was just like out of pocket in general. You obviously have limited yourself to a McDonald's Happy Meal. That's pretty much what you're saying. That's all you worth. You're not worth no time, effort, none of that. But because you don't want to, like, pay for my kid, that's pretty much how she sounds right now. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Because let me say this. This is social media world. If she took her ass to do a Don Diva video, she's an attention whore. She got the attention she wants.
Well, I don't know. Well, I don't know. I don't know if she did a Don Diva video. I think they just had the video up on their site, because I'm looking at it on Instagram. But it don't matter where she did it. When you on there, you out there talking about because he didn't get McDonald's, he not getting your body. That's crazy. McDonald's. That's like the young man like who said, that's all you worth is McDonald's.
Man, listen, man.
Nah, for real.
We wasn't even doing that in the 80s and 90s. McDonald's.
Exactly.
It's more to it than that, man. Bottom line is, you know what type of woman we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So you know what type of man she's dealing with. You know what I'm saying? If she's thinking about giving him the sex, if he would have bought the meal, I would have bought the meal all day and done all of the That's just me.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like our women, Latino brown women gotta value ourselves more than that. You know?
I agree with all that, but what I'm saying is, I just want everybody to see all sides of it, and that's what we're discussing. You understand? So she's contemplating giving the sex up for the meal. You know what I mean? Including the dessert, which is the happy meal. You know what I mean? But it had to be the way she said it to him, because the way y'all are saying it, y'all seem like calm women, but it's still coming off that she was aggressive in some manner. So I could see her having an attitude towards him that made him get defensive and say, man, I wouldn't even spit on you if you was on fire. You know, the way you talking to me right now. You know what I mean? It had to be something to lead up to that. Because I don't have no man not wanting to buy a Happy Meal for a little kid. For real. I mean, even in my worst
I
I'm just saying that's me.
You may think that, but that might be true. But again, like Michael said, and like I think we discussed this on another show, we got to learn how to date and communicate and understand who we with and who we around. Period. Point blank. Had she dated him and been around him long enough, she would have already known what type of dude he was in the first place. And that scenario probably would have never happened. Unless she's just somebody who just, again, don't value herself or care about the type of man that she's with. And obviously, if she dating, she's not with the father of the kid. So again, that goes to you having to understand who you're around and who you're going to bring around your kids.
All right, listen.
That's crazy.
If somebody want to refute it, you can. But somebody get another question ready, we're going to get ready to get off this. Because now we're going into all this and that's a bunch of crap. You know what I mean? For real, Black. That's a bunch of crap. You know?
What?
Well, I want to say something before we change the topic.
Let me tell her why that's some crap. Haas, you next, baby boy. You know we got to get you in. Now, my thing is, I say that's some crap because you're sitting here trying to defend her actions when her actions are clear as day. Mention so that way if a young lady's even gonna contemplate giving up the sex for a meal, you know what type of person we're dealing with. No disrespect, because I love those types of people. You know what I mean? Now, let me finish. But we know what we're dealing with. You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, now when she gets a response from him, it's something that came from her character that she did to spark him, that he didn't just go with the natural flow of things to get the happy meal and get the butt. You understand what I'm saying? It might not forget the child. It might not even have been about the paying for the meal for the child. He might even have bought a meal to take back home to her man, because I've done that. You know what I mean? I'll buy her meal, take that back. What you say, you left home at the house? But buy him a meal so he think you just went out and got some hamburgers for him. That way, next time I get a little bit more time. You know what I mean? I mean, that's from a player's point of view. But to sit there getting into trying to rationalize, and I said it was crap to get back where I was at after my two little jokes. I should be a comedian. But after my two little jokes, I just want you to understand that you're trying to rationalize an irrational person. You know what I mean? She's irrational. The things that what she was getting ready to do for a happy meal, you understand? You can't justify that by talking about what she should have done sensibly.
Yeah.
Right. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's irrational, and then you're talking rational.
No. But like I said, had she gotten to know that man, that they may not have never ended up in that car together driving through a drive.
You're right about all of that.
So it's like that's what she get.
No, Black, you 100% right. I just want
crazy.
People listening. I just wanted the people listening. Listen, I wanted the people listening in the panel to hear all aspects of the way it played out. But everything Black said was 100% right. And everything everybody just said was 100% right. But we have to step back and know that we're not dealing with a rational person like us. You know what I mean? So you can't expect her to make moves like us. So when she make moves like who she is, who are we to judge her? You know what I mean? Let me buy her a happy meal and enjoy myself. Don't talk my eyes out of the game. You know what I mean? That ain't nothing wrong. You know?
I think you're right.
I get that, but sometimes we gotta be careful. Sometimes we gotta be careful too, because it's like, you know, the way you carry yourself, and this may be a reason why a lot of men think they can treat all women a certain kind of way because of how other women have presented themselves.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Boom.
And then they get into a situation where they play themselves, and then it's a real big commotion or an argument, and it's like, no. Well, whoever you dealt with over there, it ain't going down like that over here. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully you end up with a female that checks him in that manner. And it happens like that because I've seen it before. But like I said, you have some men that treat some women some way, and then because they know what they can do and get away with, and then they'll treat another woman totally different. And I've seen that. So
no, but
I think I think that has a lot to do with it too. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's
no,
because you have to teach people how to treat you, right? If you accept anything, then they're going to give you anything. So you have to teach people how to treat you and be willing to walk away from any situation where you're not getting what you deserve on both sides, the man and the woman, right? And so this guy who didn't buy the Happy Meal or whatever that situation was, I've known guys who had bread. I'm an 80s baby. Same era, you know what I'm saying, that we came up in when dudes, money wasn't a thing. And I know guys who had the money, the cars, the houses, could take care of you, and they would drive what we called a hoopty or a bucket or whatever back then just to see what a chick's head was at. She didn't realize dude had bread because he presented himself as broke just to see what her head was. So she would miss out on an opportunity with someone who could have provided everything she wanted by being greedy. And if we're out here having sex for Happy Meals, like,
thank you.
That's,
But
I
it,
mean,
like,
that's
to Miss T's point, it's some women, you know, some of these women that, you know, some men fall for certain kind of women that are accept anything. You know what I'm saying? And those anything type of chicks, you know, they turn good men into, you know, bad people. You understand? Because at the end of the day, we can't, you know, as black people have to own, as women, we're the ones that are putting these brothers out. We're the ones that give birth to them. Yes, we do it with our men and everything, but we're the ones that, not saying we're the ones turning them into men, but we are the first women that they know, that they see. That, and if we're disrespecting ourselves and they're growing up and they're seeing mommy doing all kinds of stuff and whatever, she's flipping around with 5 different dudes throughout the years, and you know, he can't barely remember the first guy name from the 5th guy. You know, that's how he's going to see women out in the world. Like, it's okay to date and not really look for anything, you know, just dating, not the substance. You know, and that's what's happening. So when she said that, that's what I took from that. It's like, wow, yeah, that's what your mom taught you, because you're a reflection of your parents. She's not old, she's young. So who taught her that?
I feel like,
you know?
Women need to date themselves first. You need to figure out who you are, right? Because if you don't even know who you are or what you want, how are you going to be beneficial to anyone? You're not even beneficial to yourself. So you have to get your mind right and your heart right and even know what you want. And some people don't know how to be alone. They feel like they always have to constantly relationship instead of just being alone. Sometimes
I feel like
and they would say, just be still. Sometimes you just need to sit your ass down and be still and figure it out. Because the devil is busy when you busy.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have to chill out.
Listen. Oh, y'all.
I think that's the case. And
I don't know what to say about y'all, man. I don't know what to say about y'all.
No, like we're just like you need.
No, Mina hit it on the head.
They're gonna take advantage if you allow them to take advantage. So what you're saying,
that's the point that I'm making.
Right? No, I get your point. I understand your point. They're gonna take advantage if you allow them to.
Yeah, you got all types of women. I mean, you got the wifey. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You got the mistress. You got the number 2. You got the friends with benefits that we were talking about with little digits the last time. You got all types. You know what I mean? So if a girl chooses to give it up for a Happy Meal, that just means that she's not where you're at. You might not have ever stooped to a Happy Meal, but you gave it up And you can't tell me that as good as you look, that old player like you, nigga, ain't never got you. You know what I mean? And
Not for a value meal.
for something that you knew.
She said not for a value meal.
Listen.
Now, hold on.
Oh
You hear what I said before? Because I know you're not going to play back and get defensive because you like to think you're a chess player. So we're going to play chess right now, me and you. Now, am I right? Did that happen?
You're asking me?
And any time in your life, did you give it up to a dude that after you gave it up, you say, damn, I shouldn't have gave it up to him because he's going to think, or, you know, he wasn't even worth it. You never had a time like that?
Who's the question to? Oh, okay.
Are you're talking to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Have I ever given it up to a dude and said, what, say the last part again?
And then afterwards, like you knew you shouldn't, he wasn't even worthy of it. Like I let him play me out the door. This dude wasn't even worthy of it.
I think we all have.
Dealt with him.
Honest answer, we all have, but I didn't barter my sex. I didn't say, well, I'm gonna have sex with you in order to get something. I never did that. Stop. But to answer your question,
no, that wasn't said. No, never said that you bartered your sex. That's not even a thought, because I can look at you and tell you that.
Right.
Or ever been that type of woman.
But have I ever regretted it? Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Okay, but that's the point that I'm making right there. Meaning your mentality is way up here from her. You understand what I'm saying? And she's way down here. But it took you time to get from down there where you know you shouldn't have. Forget the bar and say, well, you know you shouldn't have get, you know what I mean? Like, you know, that time we're talking about. You know what I mean? You elevated from that, right? How long ago was that? And how long did it take for you to get mentally and spiritually right to know who you are today as a woman? Because we don't know how old this young lady is yet.
Right. What you're speaking on, I'm gonna say like,
but that can
18, like late teens, 20s.
You see what I'm saying?
Around that time period.
Yeah, that's when we was all young and dumb. That's when I was treating women like trash. I called black and B and everything else. You know what I mean? But that's what you do when you young, some of us. You know what I mean? That's just, you know, out there. And she's all the way out there like I was all the way out there. I would have loved her. You know what I mean? I would have been happy to every day to live with it if it was good and she was cute. You know what I mean? But, I want the young ladies to know that you got guys like that. I think, yo, I'm not even going to depend on Uber. I'm not even going to depend on Uber. I'm going to bring you the Happy Meal and come in and get some real quick and go back out. But anyway, we're going to get that Happy Meal to you. But seriously though, you see how long it took you to get set, to get up to where you at as this beautiful, intelligent woman that's giving excellent advice to the young ladies now?
But
we
see,
okay,
time out. For me, I haven't had a lot of relationships, right?
That's
because
true.
my relationship
even happen
like
with
years.
So even though we are at a certain point, we are experienced, because sometimes we may get into a relationship with someone at this age. You know what I'm saying? Because some of us are dating people's representatives. You know, sometimes you date somebody. Oh yeah, we are dating people's representatives because people show themselves, they act like they're one thing, and you realize that, yo, you're not who, because I've been there not too long ago. And I was like, yo,
I have the prime example to that.
If you let somebody talk long enough, they are going to tell you exactly who they are. And some people love to talk and hear themselves talk. I just was like, and let me tell you something. Let me tell you something real quick.
What I'm saying is, everything you said right there. If you let somebody talk long enough, you know he's a fool, right? Right? Then why don't the women just close their legs long enough to listen to the man before they open their legs? That's all I'm saying.
No.
Close your legs long enough to listen. Don't open your legs while you're listening.
They could be saying all the right things. Yeah, no. They could be saying all the right things, and they could sing, they could be the nicest person. But you know how they say you don't know nobody until you live with them? That's you could date somebody for forever, but when you move in, like they say, they got that thing. But
I'm not gonna let you off the hook. You in the frying pan to take it from Mina, so I'm gonna give it to you. You know
you ain't gotta let me off no hook.
You know what I mean? I can't tell. I'm talking about Mina. She just jumped in there for you, but then now she trying to run. Bottom line, Black, you talking all this about how the dude's supposed to. Say that crap again. Say that crap again.
What?
Finish what
Yeah, I'm lost.
I was saying that when you meet somebody, and Mina agreed, when sometimes you meet people's representatives, because I'm gonna say me, okay, T, people know me, Instagram, whatever, and they want to present themselves a certain way because they want to fuck with Miss T or whatever.
Right.
But then after being around someone a certain amount of time, and then not only that, listen to them, and then you gotta watch how they interact with their family and friends. Listen to them talk about their relationships with these people, and then that's when you start to really get to know who you're around and who you've been with. And sometimes that happens like that too, because that happened, and I was like, yo, it's a lot of people walking around here with issues. And I was like, wow. When you find somebody who you with and everything seemed cool, but their relationships with everybody else is messed up, pay attention.
Oh,
right.
You gotta figure out why.
Oh, that's definitely
Yeah, because I was in a
common
situation.
denominator.
I'm like, damn, how you can't exactly how you fall out with your kids, your friends,
Everybody.
your family, nobody talks to you. Like you and I was like, okay,
hold up,
yeah.
Black. Listen,
you know
Black.
what I'm saying? Because that's not who they presented.
Right.
But Black, listen, you stayed around. Hey, Haas, then I need you to come in because I don't want to take over the joint tonight because you know you family and we got to get your perspective in there. Everybody going to get a perspective. But Black, you sitting there saying all this crap about how you're going on and on. You know what I mean? If you stood around long enough to find out he treating his dog wrong, his cat, his grandmother, his great-grandmother, his great-uncle, and everybody else, that means he was screwing you for a minute. That means you should have shut your legs and opened your
But you're assuming that people are just having sex, and that's not necessarily
No,
I'm not assuming. It's a fact.
But you just no. You just said you've been screwing somebody for a minute. Everybody ain't out here smashing like that.
Right.
Listen, ask her what she having sex with him. Exactly. Having sex with him. She was having sex with him because she stayed around long enough to find out all that crap. Y'all ain't staying around and not giving up no coochie.
Have you ever heard? No. Have you ever heard of juggling two niggas? Have you ever heard of juggling niggas? Well, you ain't. Have you ever heard of juggling niggas? You might. Because at the end of the day, if you're not married and the dude ain't really like, I'm not wasting my time. Let me just say that. All right. I can get some more money. I can get some more food. I can get some more clothes. I can't get any more time. Right. So if I'm rocking with you, I'm peeping you out. I'm seeing how you moving. Right. I'm getting to know you. And I'm single until I'm not. And when I'm not, it's going to be a ring on here. But I'm not giving any of my time away because you can't get it back. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you having sex with these people.
Exactly. It doesn't. Hold on. So you was going to this juggling. Let's get to this juggling, damn it. You juggling a couple of men, right?
Not right now. I'm just saying.
Not now. Stop. You're married. You're happily married. We're not there. We talking about back then. We're all the way back now. So y'all know the dog that I'm talking as. I'm not that person today, and I agree.
I read the book.
Even though I'm saying it's a bunch of crap. You know what I mean? But it's a bunch of crap from a player. You know what I mean? I'm talking as a player right now to a bunch of intelligent young women and intelligent young men. And my man Haas, who gonna put the noose around my neck when I go too far. Now, what I'm saying is, you sitting there, you just jumped off into that you juggling, right? That y'all juggling. So you want to see how this one doing. So you ain't really getting this.
Because y'all do it. Niggas do it. Men do it all the time. Men do it all the time.
Listen, you're being defensive. Let me say my statement. I haven't spoken.
But we can't do what they do.
We can't do it.
We can't do it. We are women and they are men. We cannot do what they do.
I'm gonna get the word delivered to all of y'all tonight. Now listen, I'm talking that crap. That's straight crap. No, listen, let's just say Black.
But juggling pays off.
No, it does pay off. Listen, Black, listen, hold up, stop it.
Juggling pays off because that situation, that I'm so glad I didn't give all of myself to that situation. Yes, juggling pays off sometimes.
Right. Y'all are defending something that I'm agreeing with y'all on. I don't have a problem with y'all juggling. Black, when me and you was boning, I never asked you who else you was boning. I didn't care who you was boning. You was juggling then. You know what I mean? Let's keep it 100. Nobody
That's a real juggler.
What they're doing and all that.
That's a real juggler.
Right. But whatever understanding that you got in order to get the panties to come down. You know what I mean? And whatever understanding you got to get us to dig in the pocket and hand you a pack of cash. You know what I mean? That's what it is. I mean, let's just keep it 100.
That's prostitution, Unique. That's called prostitution.
That's no, but I'm saying you don't just give them cash. You know, the rent is due, the light is due, the baby need the Happy Meal. You know what I mean?
Oh my God! Don't go back to the damn Happy Meal.
Y'all forgot the Happy Meal already? Dude just wanted his up front. You want to understand, like, yo, I thought it was just me and you in this, but now you got the crumb snatcher. You know what I mean? And you were talking about you ain't want to give me no head. I know you give me some head. I'm buying this Happy Meal. You know what I mean? Come on, dog. That's how we think. I'm keeping it 100.
No, and that's. But the thing is, what you're saying and what we're saying happens. It happens on both sides.
I want everybody out there listening. I want everybody that's listening to know that this happening. I'm not that type of guy anymore. Yes, I was that deviant, boom, boom, hungry. You know what I mean? But I'm a 56-year-old man now with grandkids. But I just want y'all to understand how we are. And that's why I got my man up there, 19 years old. But I'm going to let them take over the floor. But they done brought me all the way out here because they done took it over to their juggling men. Like, you know, I never said nothing wrong. We juggle all the men you want.
Right, but that's why it's called dating.
You know what I mean? I don't care who you juggling. I got my condom on.
That's
you know what I mean?
Dating.
Jump all you want. You can jump on the if you want.
Yeah. So the term
but you're sorry. Go ahead, Queen.
The term dating means that I'm going to see you, and you know what I mean, and not necessarily sexually, but I'm going to get to know you, and I'm going to get to know you. It's dating, and it don't have to go any further than that unless I wanted to, and I like you like that.
But you normally open your legs before you watch to see what type of man it is. That's the point that I'm making. That's the point that I'm making. You're right. You're 100% right. But the point I'm making is y'all need to zip it. meaning the legs down bottom, not deep, but that too. But you can zip them both. You know what I mean?
Now
and enjoy the visual of the show that the man is putting on. I went out with women for over a month. I took out girls. Hold on, Black. I don't took her. Like I said, I'm juggling, but I'm juggling on a whole nother scale. I'm juggling about maybe 30, 40 women at one time. You know what I mean? So if I take her out, I might take her and she beeped at one time, and when she beeped, I decided, oh man, let me go check her. So I go check it. I got all the intention of hanging with her for the night. But then something else come up, I leave, drop her off, and then go back, do what I'm doing. And then the next week, she beat me again. I go pick her up, and then something else come on, and this go on for maybe a month, maybe 2 months, and I haven't even asked for the sex. And in her mind, we in a relationship, and she's trying to hide who she's seeing. Like I've seen her out with another dude, and when I seen her actually trying to hide. Like she was doing something wrong, and we never even had sex because we just went out with the intentions of sex, but it never happened. But this is where the non-communication with the people come in.
And her interpretation of what it is y'all are doing.
Because you don't have an understanding. You don't have an understanding of what's going on.
Right.
And then people start assuming.
Right.
You start making assumptions. And that's where communication comes into play.
And that's why now, when I talk to gentlemen, you know,
communication has to be on the table. Like it has to be out there.
Absolutely.
Of questions to ask people when you're courting and dating them. Is there someone who thinks they're your woman? These are the questions you have to ask now, because people just go off on assumption and just be really nitty.
Yes.
On the screen. But
yes.
That's crap.
No, it's crap. It's real, and it's actually happening.
That's actually one of the questions that I have. Go ahead, Queen. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You have the floor.
No. Go ahead. But keep that thought, Mina. Yui, remember we was on a show with that girl with the friends with benefits, and we told her that's you have to find out if their definition was the same as yours.
Exactly.
And that's just what Bebe was just saying everybody don't communicate because she thinks that they cool, and she thinking friends with benefits mean it's just them two. I said, baby, that's not what that means.
Exactly.
And remember, we was telling her that. Go ahead, Mina.
Well, that was the next question that I was going to kind of lead into is why is it, and are we ready to move to the next question? Are we good, or before I?
No, go ahead, finish.
Okay. Finish. So one of my questions is, why is it that it's so difficult for some men, because I don't generalize, some men, right, to be honest, regardless of their age? Meaning, you have men out here, damn near 60 years old, still lying when ain't nothing wrong with the truth. The truth will do quite nicely, right? So they'll lie to you, right? You ask them, do you have a wife? No, I don't have a wife. Do you have a girl? Do you have somebody that thinks they're your girl, like Bebe was saying? And will lie to no end. That's why you can't be out here smashing dudes until you figure the shit out. Because a lot of times they're not going to tell you, when at the end of the day, all they had to do was be honest.
Right.
Because for me personally, at our age, no, I'm in my 40s, right? We're all various ages up here. None of us haven't had a husband, a wife, or kids and all of that. So we all had a past, is my point, right? So I had a past before I met you. And there's plenty of people out here who are in marriages that they're not happy in. They're in relationships that they're not happy in. They have jobs they're not happy in. And I understand that life happens. People are in various situations. But don't involuntarily bring me into your bullshit because you're not being honest, right? Now, I'm not gonna kick it with you if you have a wife, obviously, because I don't do that. I believe in karma. So
what year? How old was you when you went there?
When I went where?
When you stopped doing that, kicking it with
I never did that, because that's what I'm saying to you. I've always been in relationships, right? Because I respect what the other person has going on, right?
Okay, when you was 18 and 19, you had those same standards?
I was with my son's father then. We were together for 7 years and he passed away.
Oh, okay.
So I was I had my son when I was 18. So I was a young parent, right? And I was always focused on my career, my education. So I wasn't out here like that.
Oh, okay.
And for me, I was cheated on, right? Because back in the day, all the hustlers had the money, they had the cars, they had this, they had that. So they had the girls that came with it. So if you was the main girl, you was getting cheated on. That's just what it was.
Exactly.
And you either had to accept it and roll with it or not. And I had a child with this person. So it's kind of like I kind of dealt with it, right? So I know how it hurt and how it feels to be cheated on. So I'm not cheating with you, because if they cheat with you, they'll cheat on you. Right? So I just don't understand why men cannot be honest. Not men, let me rephrase that, because I don't want you to jump down my throat. Not all men, but some men. Just tell the truth, because I'm going to be honest with you. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you. So that's my question.
Go ahead,
I think the main reason a lot of dudes lie is because, for one, it's a lot of overcompensation in every generation. Like, real talk, like, you got this generation, this is the social media generation. Like, you got people who live in lifestyles that really don't match up with who they are in real life. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure, like, back in the day, you'd have them same dudes that's like, oh, word, I'm getting this work, but they not. They trap busting by like $5 a week.
Actually getting that work, though. I say that.
The rappers took the lifestyle and try to say that they were really doing that lifestyle when it really was the guys in the hood, and it was mostly people like Unique and everybody they talk about in Brooklyn. So that lifestyle, what the young man is saying has been happening for years. You know, if you was a social butterfly, that's why you guys are doing so well on social now, Unique and T, because you guys was always social. Right. So, you know, myself, when you're a social person, you know how to navigate through these types of channels and platforms and things like that and still be the person you was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. There's no facade. The person, I watched Miss T's documentary over and over and over. Okay, and even the people who have come home still portray the same person who they were today. You're right, Mr. 19, because I don't know your name. Right? They do that on social because they can insta thug on social because they're behind a phone or a laptop or a camera and they're building a facade.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and that's why I run mine on all positiveness because I'm.
And it's sad because as they get older, they can't.
I want to touch on something that
I was saying,
Mike said, what she just said about if they're still doing things they did 30 years ago.
Tomorrow, you got to go?
Yeah, but I want you guys, if you guys are on Clubhouse, join me on Clubhouse. I just started a discussion call from positive to negative, and there's going to be some heavy hitters on that call, so I would love for you guys to join if you're on. Unique, I followed you, so you got to follow me back to invite you in. Miss T, if you're on Clubhouse, I would love for you to join as well, because you guys definitely took some negative situations and turned them into positive. You guys are some role models for today's youth to really keep them off the street and let them know how to really navigate. And if they really want to be about that life, you tell them what it is and what the consequences are, and if they're ready for that. And I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're welcome.
You had the heart. I didn't
Thank
have to send the
Thank you.
No, we gotta stay connected. This was fun.
All
right. Good night.
Yeah.
So that's where
but like Michael said, the social media is, I think this generation now is like effed up. Because like Michael said, like we didn't have no choice but to be social back then because we didn't have social media, so we all knew each other. Either you was going to be a social butterfly or you was just going to be, just a reserved person because that's not who you were. Now it's like these kids don't know they're going to grow up not knowing how to have conversations, intelligent conversations. I mean, it's just
emotional connection.
Yeah, they don't know how to. So imagine what their relationships are going to look like.
Exactly.
That's true.
Like Michael, what do you see with your peers? As far as like the peers that you actually
personally, like within my generation, like this is my generation. This is a hookup culture generation. Like, so the thing is, like, there's within this generation, I can definitely say that we're bringing out a lot of things that weren't addressed in previous generations because this generation is very transparency based. So therefore, there's a lot of things that people aren't settling for, i.e. the social norms, the stigmatizations around certain things, colorism, like texturism. Like, we're pretty much digging deep into a lot of stuff that was either put into us as young ones from like the previous generation that wasn't really right. And we kind of bring it out and trying to change it. But we also dealing with the same people who carrying on some of them same like messed up ideals, whether it comes in forms of like gender roles or what a woman is expected to do or what a man is expected to do. Like, a lot of things are getting dismantled and people are trying to dismantle things in this generation. So in terms of dating, it's a hookup culture. Like, sometimes like people be like, oh, let's link. Like, a link is pretty much like, oh, let's just go kick it, let's chill or whatever. And then there's always that expectation from some people that there's supposed to be something at the end. So within certain things in this generation, like it's talked about a lot, but relationships in this generation don't operate off of trust a lot of the times too. It's very hard to find somebody to trust, especially like within this generation. You know what I'm saying? And then you throw the streets and all the social media and everything else into somebody who's coming from this generation too. Nobody's really trying to trust anybody. And then when it does come to a lot of these relationships, a lot of things get forced too. Because mind you coming up on social media, if you don't have like a positive outlook of what a relationship looks like in your family, you're going to automatically look to social media. So then you have social media setting the regulations and the bystanders for what you think is supposed to be healthy within a relationship, when in actuality it's not. You don't see everything that happens behind closed doors. We have a highlight generation. You know what I'm saying? Social media is like a highlight reel. You don't see everything that's going on behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to that, you get a lot of people trying to force it and have the same image. That's why with me, I'm very specific with my time and who I give it to and who I date. Like, I may have a lot of followers, but I don't communicate with a lot of people. Like, I can have a nice network and I got a pretty dope network, but I don't communicate with everybody. I'm very selective with my time. I'm selective with who I date and I'm selective with who I give my time to. because a lot of people are not moving on the same direction as me in this generation, and a lot of other people are not on the same way. Me personally, I'm doing things where I'm looking for myself, I'm building the future for myself, but I'm also expecting my partner to have something for themselves too. Like it has to be something both brought to the table besides your presence, because your presence isn't enough, especially within this generation. Your presence is not paying the bills. Your presence is not putting even up the paint on the walls. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to have something to really stand on. And in this generation, there are people who are trying to have some stuff to stand on, but they're really not. You know what I'm saying? So it's in this generation, it's definitely rare like to have like genuine connections for real, especially in the age of social media, because we got Tinder, we got the dating app generation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're not really getting to know somebody fully. So that's definitely what I would say.
So what, Mike? So what is it?
You only 19?
I'm 19. I'm about to be 20 in January.
Hold on.
You only 19?
Yeah, I'm 19.
Wow, that's crazy.
Hey, Mike.
Very much.
Hey, Mike. What's up, OG?
Broken down.
What is a date to you?
Very well.
Oh, a date to me is quality time, but it's also a filling out process.
Hold on, your generation, break down the different definitions of a date. Like, what's a date that you just want to go link? Like you said, what does that consist of? We know that means just hanging out, blah, blah, blah. But now, as far as a date when you expecting sex, how do y'all do that nowadays?
That's the link. That's
how does that whole part played out when you going out with somebody, you expecting to get it in? What is
so I would definitely say like dating, even the term like can I take you on a date, that's like something that's rare, because 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get a link. Like, are you trying to link? A link is a hookup or just kicking it and hanging out, and maybe it's pretty much whatever happens into whatever. A date, like somebody saying, hey yo, can I take you out? That's something that is done in this generation. But at the same time, like some people just don't know how to take people on dates or how to move on dates in general. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely different.
Now we go.
When I move on dates, like I'm good with it. So for me, I have to like know a person before I can say, yo, you want to go kick it somewhere? Or like, yo, let's talk. Like, cause I'm a very communication oriented type person. Like communication is the number one thing for me, because like it was said, let a person talk long enough, you're gonna find out who they are. So for me personally, if I can have a conversation with you and I can see what type of energy you want, or I can feel what you want, like I want to know what you're trying to do with your life in general. Like I'm in college, that's cool. Everybody's in school, or everybody's trying to hustle, or everybody's just doing something. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has something they trying to do or accomplish, I would hope to think. But that's not enough. It's also like, okay, so what issues do you have? Like what familiar trauma do you have that you still carry with you, that you exert on the people in your relationship? Like what stuff are you dealing with that you don't really pull out the closet like that? So for me, like I'm very communication based. I'm not what you doing? Oh, word, what's that? I'm not that type of person when it comes to communication. So first I gotta communicate with a person, and I gotta feel like a decent connection first before I even say, yo, I want to spend a couple hours in this person's presence, because I can't just dip on a date. I can hang up a FaceTime call, I can hang up a phone call if I don't like your energy, or if I'm just not really feeling it. I'm not gonna fake my presence, because my presence is going to be genuine the same way with me trying to get to know somebody. So first is the communication. If you can't get past communication, I don't really want to link with you like at all. So if we go past communication, we get to a day, okay, cool. The movies is basic. We leave the movie dates in high school. Real talk. Like this generation, like we may be going through a lot, but we also expect different stuff. Like, hey yo, let's go to a park. Let's go to a drive-in movie. Like, let's do something that's out of the norm, but where we can also continue to get to know each other too. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, communication, if not even more. Sit in that date and then talk about actual stuff. Like, it's cool to have like the little sprinkler stuff, but like I'm actually getting to know somebody, because my time is an investment. It was already said, you can't get your time back. I don't waste my time with people in relationship. That's why I don't date a lot. I will talk to people. I will never leave somebody on, but I will be very intentional in what I say and how I speak to somebody, because a lot of people is just trying to waste time in this generation. People just jump and then don't heal in between, you know? So that's how I move anyway. A lot of people don't move like me, but that's how I move anyway.
Thank your parents for me, because you
sure.
back, young man.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Very intelligent.
Yes.
Very intelligent.
Yeah, that was my point. That was my point.
Yes, absolutely.
Hold on, right? That's why I brought him on, because I wanted people to see that there is intelligent young men out there.
Oh,
Everyone is
absolutely.
not in the gang, and everyone is not wilding. You know what I mean? So that's why I brought him up here amongst us. You know what I mean? Because he's our grandkids age black.
He reminds me of my son. My son just turned 18, and I see a lot of similarities between what he's speaking on and how my son speaks. So, yeah, he's very, very intelligent.
That's awesome.
Okay, well, you know, now we know they got young, intelligent brothers back there. Let's back this grown folks talk and cut this.
I hope there's enough older dudes. Hold on, you. I hope there's enough older gentlemen on here that's open-minded enough to listen to what this young man just said. You understand? Not, please don't look at his age and be, no, I'm 51 and he know what the hell he's talking about.
Mhm.
So hopefully people are open-minded enough to understand, listen to understand, not to respond, but listen to understand what this man just said.
Absolutely.
Okay, and you heard how she emphasized man. All right, that's a man up there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Regardless of the age. You know what I mean? So I'm no more man than him. You know, we're both men. You know, but now, what is a deal breaker to with the opposite? What's a deal breaker with the opposite sex to you in a conversation, a communication, a meeting? Someone meets you. What is a deal breaker to whoever from the opposite sex to either one of y'all? Either one.
Not being able to communicate, because you got some people that don't know how to hold a conversation.
For real. And that's mad unattractive. Like, because to be honest,
Exactly.
the way the world is set up right now, yo, it's not hard to like look decent. It's not hard to like, because the thing is, you can put filters on anything. You can get injections, you can get lip injections, you can go get a haircut, you can go get a nice fit. If you don't know how to hold a conversation, I'm turned off. I'm a sapiosexual. That means I'm attracted to intelligence. Intelligence is attractive to me. So therefore, if you can't hold a conversation with me, it's not gonna work, because for one, communication takes you further than sex ever will. And the problem with a lot of people is everybody wants to taste what the chef is cooking, but nobody really wants to like go meet the chef. You know what I'm saying? So what I think is a deal breaker within communication is like, if you can't I'm not even gonna say an intellectual conversation, because there's people who like don't have the highest education, but they can speak for hours and actually have like a conversation with substance. Like, I don't want to hear a conversation with you and it's just like very one track. It's not interesting. Like, if you can hear the passion in somebody when they're speaking, that's a real conversation, because that's something that they're passionate about. You know what I'm saying? But if it's just like, oh yeah, I do this. If your personality is very bland, that's very unattractive, because you can hear that through somebody's voice. You can only fake for so long. You can spit as many words as you want. People go in circles all the time, but it's like, if you can't hold a conversation, nothing's gonna last, because I gotta talk to you longer than I can be intimate with you. No cap. Like, real talk. So
right. Absolutely.
Now look, you know, the little rapper, the baby, is seeing this chick, you know, Danny Lear, right? Now, he goes out with his baby mother. I mean, he goes out with this other chick, and he's taking pictures, putting it up with him and the other chick on the Instagram. But you know, he mad at the baby mother. He's posting because he's supposed to recent pictures of her. You know what I mean? Saying the reason why. Do you think that a baby mother could be in the way?
I think baby mothers can definitely be in the way of relationships that take place, because I've seen that, like, with my homies in general. Like, I've seen that happen before. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think that I'm not gonna say bitterness, because bitterness is attributed too much to Black women in general, especially the term baby mother. Whenever it gets said, you automatically think of Black women. So I'm just gonna say spitefulness, or I'm gonna say like emotional neglect. So I would definitely say that I think baby mothers can definitely have the potential to ruin relationships when there's lack of communication. But I have a mentor. Him and his baby mother have an excellent relationship. So I would definitely say that it's whatever the emotions was left on when they split apart is definitely the main thing. And then the thing that makes it worse is it's the bartering piece, because without that child, you're simply an ex. There's no reason for you to be concerned about what that person does with their life. But the main thing is, like, a lot of people will use their child as a crutch or as a bartering tool, simply to like a pawn to get over on the other person. When in actuality, that ain't right. The baby seems like a great dude, yo. Always showing love to his daughter, like positive father figure. You know what I'm saying? Handles his business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to speak on a situation to which I have no context in, but I definitely think that you shouldn't be hating on your spouse simply because they're moving on. As long as your child is being treated right at the end of the day and nothing as bad is going on with that child, you don't need to be in their life. You're in that child's life. You're not trying to be in their life anymore. So therefore, don't involve yourself on that level or be spiteful towards that person. It makes you look worse.
Can I add something? Can I add something? Can I add something? I think that a lot of times when baby mothers or whatever can interfere, a lot of times it's because the guy is still sleeping with her.
Thank you.
Facts.
So a lot of that falls on the father of the child because he can control a lot of the back and forth between the females, right?
Facts.
My situation when I told you guys my son's father passed away, he had a child with another lady, but it was before our relationship, and she and I never had beef. When my son was born, she used to babysit my son because I was in college at the time. So she used to keep my child, right? And when the father passed away, we were at the cemetery, and I was back at the limo because I was distraught and just trying to wrap my mind around what had happened. She came to the limo and she came in and she sat down and she asked me, was I okay? And we were just talking and everything. And she said, you and I have to keep these kids together. We have to make sure they grow up together. Okay. From that day on, in 2000, because he's been going 20 years now. In 2000, at the cemetery, we made a pact that we would raise them together. And that's exactly what happened. They were raised together. And because they needed to know they were brothers. So I think the father has a lot to do when there's bitterness and disagreements and arguments.
Most definitely, for sure.
Messing with the other chick.
Yeah, for sure. Most definitely.
Yeah. And I think that women who have children,
that's how it's supposed to be,
right,
get a bad rap. You know what I mean? Because there's always a backstory, and a lot of people don't know the backstory. They just think that the mother is trying to be malicious and won't let go, but it's always usually way more to that. It's usually the man still playing these psychological games and these emotional games and staying tied to that woman
and controlling.
Yep. Very much so.
Now, although the baby is a celebrity and he has his baby mother, and everybody can see how much he loves his daughter because he's always with her, always pictures. But although he's a celebrity and Danny Lee is a celebrity, if that baby mother probably wanted to just, go ahead, I'm going to do me. I ain't saying the baby, but you have men that's over here doing their thing and they dating somebody because they're a celebrity too. But if this person who's a non-celebrity who they have a child by go ahead and do something, then they start treating them wrong. They start saying something, or they'll try to tell them, oh, you can't mess with him because he still want to get in there. But it's like you can't play them games. You know what I'm saying? It's not cool. It's definitely not cool. And whether you're a celebrity or not, that happens out here in the street.
Yeah.
But I like that, Mina, because even with my kids, my daughter brothers, like my daughter grew up with her brothers, me and their mother is cool. Because I ain't never, and I think I made a video about that on my YouTube page. It was a question about why do women hold the baby hostage because the man has moved on. I have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, listen, if somebody want to move on, it hurts, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And I can't, talk about people hurt differently, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to love. But you got to love yourself more than loving somebody who's trying to get away from you. You have to.
Get away from
and
you.
Keep the kids together. I'm a firm believer of that because my father did that.
Right.
Yeah, you got to love and my father even did that with my brothers and sisters. My father, he had other kids, and he was like, listen, I love my kids. My only problem was that I hurt two women. You know what I'm saying? He said, but I love my children, and I expect for y'all to love each other. I don't even call him my stepbrother or my half brother, half sister. That's just my brother and my sister. So it's supposed to be like that. And this, sometimes I think it is the man's responsibility to try to bridge those kids together and have a decent conversation, communicate, because you don't need two women fighting and these kids over here don't know that they got brothers over here, or they know and they're not, you know what I'm saying, having that relationship. That's just not cool. Yeah. So I think men, and then men in the street use that against, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think it need to be more of that family unification.
Absolutely.
Family unification.
On that, Haas. Break it down, Haas. Break that down, Haas, from a man's point of view. Turn your mic on. Your mute on? Yeah, the mute.
Yeah, you talk about the lying or the cheating? What specifically about the men lying?
Everything.
Everything what Mr. Teacher said.
Oh, all right. Well, part of the situation is this, it's out.
He's been patient. Call him out. He's been patient.
I'm listening. I'm listening to y'all talk. I'm listening to y'all.
You want her to recap that real quick for you and condense it?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Tell her what we were just talking about. Miss T.
You talking to me?
Huh?
Tell him what we were just talking about.
Nah, Hassan. No, Hassan got it. He heard it. Go ahead, Haas.
Well, I'd like to add
Haas
something.
can't hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I didn't hear what I was talking about.
Well, go ahead while we get his mic together.
Black.
When we was talking about the relationships, we had a conversation about men having relationships with different women, and the miscommunication where, the man is still sleeping with the baby mother. And and then there's that friction there because he is sleeping with his kid's mother.
And then the stepkids, Black, about how you was raised with your brothers and sisters.
Oh yeah, and just like I have said that, like like men that have kids with different women, and I just put my family, situation out there because my father, them Jamaican men, yeah, they have kids. The Jamaican men, them like to have picnic all over the place and all. So
like sweet, wet, boom, boom.
But what my father did was like, his thing was, he apologized, not apologize for his having kids, but he apologized for hurting two women. But his thing was that he wanted all his kids to love each other and, just have that relationship. And I think that's how it should be across the board, and just have that family unification, but some men don't want to do that because they still want to be with both women at the same time. And if those two women get together, oh God. But, some of our men got to grow up. That's it. So yeah, that's what we got.
Some of our women need to step their game up in order to keep their men, so they won't need two women. They can
you can't keep that's hogwash right there. First of all, you can't keep.
Sometimes you grow out of love and move on, and that's okay. Some people grow out of love.
So what?
No, that's the thing. OG.
Okay,
A lot of dudes are not trying to keep up.
You can't just make a blanket statement and not explain yourself. So what does stepping her game up mean so he don't need another woman? What does a woman have to do so that a man doesn't need another woman? Explain that.
Because that man, the woman may not want to massage him or whatever. May not want to wash him in the shower. You know what I mean? She feel it's nasty to go in the shower. You know what I mean? And he might have a fetish with the shower. So his woman don't want to go in there. He don't want to tell her, man, I got this fetish. I'm trying to just bone the hell out of you with this wet water. You know what I mean? But this other girl,
why did I ask?
Damn late. You know what I mean?
Question.
And dude is like, you know, so in other words, so now instead of her compromising, you know,
The emoji.
a good example, and Black can vouch for that, and you too, because they tell what type of woman you are. But you know, I read the girl, no, I mean in a positive way. I read the book Superhead, you know what I mean? And I read her book, and her book was like bananas, you know what I mean? But if you listen to what she's saying, she was just surviving, and that's how she chose to survive.
Right.
But now that she's older, she's been hurt and been through what she's been through, she knows what life is about. You understand? But she made a statement because she started talking to the dude from the Urkel show. You know what I mean? Had that dude messed up in the head, and everybody was having intervention with him. All his friends telling him, "What are you doing?" Yeah, Family Matters. Urkel. Right. You know what I mean? So they all telling him, "What are you doing with her?" Like, no, all the rappers had it, everybody had it. She's nothing. You know what I mean? But he was in love with her. But I read I saw an interview she did, or I read it in a magazine, but she said something. She was like she said, I don't even like football, but for my man, I would. And I sit there and watch football with him and learn the players and da-da-da-da. But for my man, I give him everything because I know these are the things that his woman is not giving him. So I'm comfortable being the side chick because my self-esteem was low. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm trying to keep a good man.
Okay, but you do understand though, that goes both ways.
Yes.
So if you're in a relationship and you feel like you're a good woman, you have a good man, you have to pour into that person, and that person has to pour into you. If you have a man, and if you have a man that's giving the massages, that's doing all the things. See, for women, our foreplay starts when you take out the trash, right? It don't start in the bedroom. That's not where it starts.
Exactly.
You get like Michael's saying, you have to make love to our minds. The act of sex is just the physical gratification of the relationship, right? So when it's going both ways, if I'm in a relationship, I'm giving you all of me, right? And I expect the same in return. And a lot of times when we don't get that, then we're gonna start pulling back. So we're not gonna give you all of what you're wanting because you're not giving it to us. It's a 50-50 thing.
You know what though?
And I don't mean like what did they say, quid pro quo? I don't mean that a favor for a favor. I don't mean that. I mean the overall relationship, right? So if I've been out and I've been hustling all day and I come home and you got the bath water ran, you got the wine poured. I don't give a damn if you put a frozen pizza in the oven. It doesn't really matter. It just shows that you cared enough to think that I might be hungry when I get home, right? The same way when you come home, I'm gonna do the same for you. Oh, that's called a relationship. And a lot of
especially part of love language too, which is crucial.
They come into the shit being selfish. And it's about what I can get, what you can give me, instead of us.
Right. But to be honest,
like Kobe said, what did he tell Shaq? When Shaq told him there's no I in team, he said, but it's a me in that motherfucker. Yeah. It's a me in a relationship. So we're together.
Right. But you have a lot.
I'm just saying. So I'll pause.
No, you ain't got to pause. No, I just want to say this. You got to keep in mind that a lot of men, you know what I mean? Not all, you know, man. I know a lot of men. I've been one of them at one time. A lot of men, we've been hurt so much that we don't trust the woman. So even though we get in a relationship and we move in with them, we still don't trust you. Let's keep it 100. You know what I mean? I mean, we trust you enough to live under the same roof, but we still don't trust your hormones and your emotions. You know what I mean? Because we don't trust ours. You know what I mean? We know we ain't right. So we expect you to be wrong.
Okay.
And 9 times out of 10, y'all not wrong. But in our minds, we think you wrong because we feel guilty because we know we wrong. So she got to be doing something. I'm out here spooning these 30.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Cheating is a choice, right?
But at what point and what age do you get over that? At what point and what age does men get over thinking that, okay, she's doing something because you feel the guilt of what you're doing? At what point do y'all stop doing what y'all doing and realize the woman that you have and that you need was never out there and she always been right there?
When it's too late.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
The thing about it is,
When it's too late, it ain't no age for that. Like, it's too late.
It'll never stop.
Preach.
It'll never stop.
Preach.
It'll never stop because it'll never stop because that's the way it started.
You were saying something?
It'll never stop because that's the way it started. You say why do men lie? Why do men lie? Because they learned to lie. Because what happens is we call ourselves players. You say this guy's a player, that guy's a player. Well, a player don't lie. Because when we say we running down game makes means you respect everything. You know what I mean? Game no means I lie to you over here and I'll tell you another story over here. It means that you accept it. Now, but what happens is that we dealing with the erosion of character. You know what I mean? Character, the erosion of character is why we have so many people lying, why we have so many dysfunctional relationships, why we don't have more young men like this gentleman right here. You know what I mean? Because these relationships are producing weak children. These relationships are not producing children that are being nurtured to be strong men like this gentleman right here. I was in awe to see that a young man speak as particularly the way he's able to speak. But the reason why, because he has the balance. We growing up our children without the balance. Well, what do we teach them in the first thing? We teach the girls don't trust the boys and the boys don't trust the girls. So how are we going to teach have a cohesive unit if both group parties are being taught not to trust each other? What we experiencing is the implementation of what this thing is called racism. Because racism is able to move to our communities because we have weak families. Our communities are weak because our families are weak. Why our families are weak? Because how we first meet in intimate relationships are confused. We confused about what we want. We confused about what our positions. We confused, and this confusion is being passed on to the children. The children are being confused, and what happens is that so we wonder why when we hear the woman talk about buy a Happy Meal and getting the sex and this, that, and the other. That's erosion on both characters. The word mother. The word mother is so powerful. The word mother is so powerful that if you was a powerful woman, you was the mother of the neighborhood. That's why they have a street called Mother Gaston in Brownsville. That's why they had a woman called Queen Mother Moore, because the word mother has a significance to it. It's not something that you play with. It's not something that you throw around. You know what I'm saying? It's so is that we've reduced those words. We have not held up to those words, and we've allowed them to have some more than one meaning. So what happens? The true meaning is that we can produce young men like this young man Michael here. So that you know what? So we have a generation. So we set up the next generation. So the next generation will be in power. But we too busy being self-centered. And you talk about these brothers that talk about they'll never change because they didn't learn responsibility in the beginning. So what happens is we got to teach them responsibility in the beginning. So because they're never going to change 50, 60, 40. They still playing games. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because you know what I'm saying? Because they have not evolved. Because one problem, you want the real truth? One of the reasons why black men act the way they act, because they don't have power. They don't have true power in society. They have play power. They have toy power. So they don't have true power in society. So being they have true power in society, that testosterone has to be released. That testosterone has to be released. So they release it on our sisters. They release it on y'all because they can't release it on the world. You see what I'm saying? So this is the problem. So what happens when the brothers are able to start releasing that testosterone, to be able to act like men in the street, not go to work and bow down, because 90% of our men, when they're at work, they're bowing down. They have to kiss up to somebody to bring that check home to their babies. So what happens is that testosterone is not being released. That testosterone, and the only way he's able to release that testosterone is in the bedroom. You know what I'm saying? But now instead of this being a pleasurable moment, this is a competition moment. Instead of this being appropriation, this becomes recreation. So this is why what happens is that we coming into the whole environment with the wrong mentality. You know what I mean? Because the innate things is about, we want protection. The woman wants protection. The man wants protection. The man wants to be, the woman wants to feel that physically, emotionally, financially, that she's protected. The man wants to be inspired. He doesn't need it, but his protection is that you inspire him. You inspire him to believe that he can do the job that you committed him to do. But what happens is that through the process, we get caught up with this, all this facade about talking about going romance and this, that, and the other. But the romance will disappear. Now the love will stay. The love will stay. And that's what's most important, because we caught up with two different things. We pushing together romance and love. Romance ain't got nothing to do with love. Romance is romance. Love is love. You follow what I'm saying? And what we have to do is, because we killing our children. What do we tell them from a very small? We killing them. We telling them, don't trust them little boys. You know what I'm saying? And if you mess with them, they gotta make sure they give you some. And they say, don't mess with that little pissy old girl over there, because she gonna give you something. She gonna give you the clap, or we give you a baby, this, that, and other. So we're not teaching our kids to be what they need to be, so they could be mothers and fathers.
That's right.
Because that's what we need, mothers and fathers. I grew up in a project. I grew up in a building. It was 4 fathers in the building.
Yes.
We got 4 fathers in the building. You see what I'm saying? So what happens is that now the men don't even feel they have responsibility. They say, leave it to child support, leave it to the this, leave it to the that. No, the responsibility is yours, and the responsibility is a lifetime responsibility. You hear people say, I don't watch the kids. I'm not watching no grandkids. Are you crazy?
A lot of these young
Are you crazy? You ain't watching the grandkids, so you want some Fruit Loop watching your grandchildren? But this is the mindset. This is the mindset we done gotten caught up with, dealing with our children and dealing with our families. Our families and our children, our youth is the most important thing. And if we approach relationships with a more sincere approach, and we approach relationships with a more educated appeal, we have more young men like this gentleman here, like Michael. We will have more of them. We'll be walking around the community and seeing that. You know what I'm saying? But we're not seeing that. You know what I'm saying? So it's incumbent upon us to start exercising the tools to make sure that we have young men like this in our community and young women.
That's
and I think that
also
with the when you brought up the children in the system, being part of the system and letting the system take care of it. As women and as parents, we have got to stop. First of all, the men have got to start taking care of their children, and the women have got to start allowing them to do so.
Yes.
And stop going and putting the system in your business, because as soon as you put the system in your business, it's all downhill from there. So as parents, you have to come together. If you have 2 rational people, sometimes men don't be rational and women aren't rational.
Right.
And if you're dealing with an irrational person, then of course you got to do what you have to do.
You can't
but we want to strive to not involve their system into bringing them into our households. Because what happens? Man doesn't pay his child support, his license gets suspended. I know every state is different, but every state has their rules. The license gets suspended. They can't drive to work, they lose their job. They lose their job, they can't pay the child support. They can't pay the child support, they go to jail. How the hell are they going to pay the child support locked up? And now they're in arrears, it's behind, and they never pay it. I know people that's in their 30s and their mothers are still getting child support because it's that far behind.
That's right.
And the people who are in it have grandchildren.
But that's the systematic destruction of our communities. We have different entities inside our communities that determine the balance of our relationships. They determine the health of our relationships. Because these entities.
We have to start striving to become husbands and wives versus baby mothers and baby fathers.
Instead of competitors too, because men.
Yes, but you know what, Mina? Let me go back to that. We are having kids.
That baby says some baby trying to talk.
You know what? All I was just chiming in.
Go ahead, babe.
I was just saying that in relationships, a lot of times couples are competing versus being cohesive and trying to work things out. Now, granted, all relationships don't last, but there's a law that governs everything. You understand? And there's law in relationships. There's law in friendships, you know. And so if something is over, if something has reached its peak, we can still cohabitate enough to take care of our children. You know what I mean? And then we wouldn't have to bring in outside entities. But if I can't talk to you and I can't reason with you and I can't ration with you because you're a bully, because you can't reason with a bully, you know what I mean? You can't reason with disrespect. Then what am I forced to do? Now, I, for one, to be honest, I'm no big person on getting the government involved. I'm not comfortable with that. You understand? Because that, you know, that breeds a whole different program. But, you know, like I said, when we start with 1, 2, and 3, you got to take care of your children. You know what I mean? And I know instances, and you know what I mean? I'm just putting nobody out there, but I know instances where people would rather drive luxury cars than drive a hoopty and give money to their kids. And I don't understand that. You know, and I really don't understand that. And I think that as people, we have to learn to be more, you know, kinder to one another. I get it. You don't dig me no more, and I'm not too hot about you. But we have this child. And we had this child when we was really feeling each other. So you understand? So let's try to be adults. But you got a lot of people, and go back to what this brother said, that in terms of if you're not feeling the individual no more, then you just cut off all contact, and you can't do that. You can't. And then you got these kids out here, you know what I mean, damaged, you know what I mean? Imagine how it feels to wonder, well, Dad, my father, he don't really care about me. Or even my mother, because we got deadbeat moms too, you know what I mean? So imagine how you grow up as a child feeling not loved. Now you a young adult. Now you a male and you're dating women. You want to date 2 and 3 women because you want to get the love that you didn't get from your parents. It's happening. It really does happen.
And I think that you touched on something, because I feel like that's why a lot of men, not all, but some men are dating women, and they're expecting the woman they're dating to be their mother.
Oh yeah.
Because I ran into that situation, and I'm like, I have 2 sons. I don't need 3. I'm not dating you to be my child.
Okay, hold up.
But we also have.
I'm not being disrespectful, but that was my personal experience. And I'm like, yo, wait a minute.
You're entitled. I want to bring somebody else up. Hold on. I want to bring my Rob up. Yo, Big Rob, what's up? You been listening backstage, Rob? You been listening backstage? Take your mute up. Your mute on. Your mic.
My man raised a lot of valid points, but we have a fiduciary responsibility. It's not just us, it's the system. It's the way we set up. I can take this all the way back to Willie Lynch and everything else. But if you look at it, it's the media, it's the press, it's everything. The white man has done everything they can to oppress the black family. And I made a whole lot of money off of music, more money.
We lost him.
Where you went?
A lot of it is the music and it's the media. That's why they crucified Bill Cosby, because he was trying to buy a media platform so he could show us better. I love ratchet shit, Unique. You know I love ratchet shit. I love music, but we got to stop letting our kids listen to Cardi B and all that other stuff, because what that does is that promotes it's all right to be a whore. It's all right to shake your ass and get money. So it's not always just the black man, because the black man was set up to fail. We were set up from the beginning, from the system. From the system, we can go just back to in the early 90s. You get caught with 3 grams of crack, they're gonna lock you under the jail. But a white man to get caught with a whole 8 ball of coke, they're gonna slap him on the wrist and send him to court. So it's the system.
Yo, big fact.
We have to start as people uplifting each other. Somebody said there's no mothers in the community, there's no fathers. I'm fortunate, man. I came from a 2-family house, West Indian background. You get 5 pump across your ass, you act up, but we don't have it anymore. My father paid bail money to go to court fight their cases because they didn't know any better. They didn't have anybody. So this young man right here, he's like a unicorn. What you're doing right here, Unique, is a beautiful thing, because nobody is really trying to show us where we need to go. And if you don't know your history, you're not going to go anywhere.
Know where you're going. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
That's definitely peace, you know. But that's why.
You said something. You said that some men Oh, go ahead.
No,
No,
go ahead,
when
go ahead.
Rob said, from the beginning, and I do understand when you say, the system has held the black man down, but I don't expect for black men to be using that as an excuse either.
No, it's not.
Like
but
playing the victim when it comes to certain situations.
It's not. But where do we start? What's positive right now on TV? You don't see anything positive. There's no more Cosby Show. There's no more.
No. Forget TV.
Right. But that's where it starts, though.
Why do we have to look at TV? Though. TV is for entertainment.
But that's how.
But we're talking about grown people. I'm talking about at a certain age, you cannot. I'm talking about at a certain age for our black men. We can't let TV influence us at a certain age. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I want to go back to the baby mamas and baby daddies. We got to be careful who we having kids with. Plain and simple. That's it. Plain and simple. I hate to hear a man say, "Oh, I got to babysit my daughter." Babysit your own child. Babysit. You're not babysitting anything. That's yours. Right. Like I have a problem with that. I got to watch my son.
Right. But you got to go all the way back.
No, you just come and get your son.
Go back to how it started. They trained us. That whole Willie Lynch syndrome is how to break a black man, how to break a slave. You take him away from his family. You demonize him. You take his manhood away from him. So we came a long way. We got a long way to go.
We do have a long way to go.
Respectfully, I want to step in real quick. Like OG, I feel like one thing we got to do too is like we have to realize like the black women struggle too, because even with like Willie Lynch and all that, we still got to look at James Marion Sims. Like, look at the father of modern gynecology. You know what I'm saying? Like, James Marion Sims was out here experimenting on our black women, snatching the black babies out the womb. That doesn't really get talked about as much. So I feel like one thing we definitely got to do is we also got to realize the pain our own black women been through as well. Because the thing is that trauma and that post-traumatic slavery disorder that carries on through generations and generations today. And then you still got the instincts, like the reflective and the muscular instincts that also come off that as well, which is what gets pushed off as aggression when that's just passion. You know what I'm saying? That's hurt. That's pain. We don't really allow our women to hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like with black men, the main thing that we really get put out there is like, hey, yo, hold him down. You don't really hear hold her down like that. Like, we don't get to acknowledge our women's pain as much. We kind of just expect them to take on ours too. So I feel like one thing we got to do within the black community as black men is acknowledge the black women's pain. Like we got to listen to it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we got to do that too.
No time to cry. You're right.
Oh, no doubt. Because I'll be the first one to
I would like to add to that. I would like.
Yeah, women don't have time to do that.
Well, the thing about it, this oppression is duality. It's destroying the men and the women. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because we balance each other out. There's a reason why slavery, why they separated us. You know what I'm saying? When they put us on the ships, when they had slave castles in Africa. So when they gathered the slaves and gathered them in slave castles. So there was a reason why the women were on one side and the men were on the other. But what happened was because the women were the inspiration. You know what I'm saying? First of all, in our innate culture, we all come from Africa. So innately, the women are the leaders. See, in the African culture, the women are the leaders. So what happens is that we are wearing shoes that don't fit. Like the brother said, Marion J. Sims, about how he violated women, and he became the father of gynecology. They labeled him the father of gynecology. A woman named Harriet Washington, a black woman named Harriet Washington, she wrote a book called Medical Apartheid. So it's about him, Marion J. Sims, and about 1,000 other doctors who have wickedly violated our people for the past couple hundred years. So we have to understand that racism, why we here is because this is the effect of racism. We are here because, you know what I'm saying, before we're talking about our families and we can't get together, and we see hundreds of years ago they had nothing and they had 35 kids in the family and just 2 mothers and fathers, and they was putting potatoes and string beans together. So what happens is it's something that a greater dynamic is taking a hold of our community. A greater dynamic is to take a hold of our mindset. Or there's a word called ethos. Ethos is the mindset of a community. Ethos is how people think, and how we think as a people has been influenced. There's a man named Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays is he was the director of CBS, NBC and ABC. His uncle was Sigmund Freud. He's the reason why we eat bacon and eggs for dinner. He's the reason why women smoke cigarettes in public. This man was a master influence. Him, Wilfred Trotter. He learned from Wilfred Trotter and Gustav LeBron. But him and his man named George Creel and Walter Lippmann, they came up with this thing called the Committee on Public Information, because what happened was this is a committee to determine what we know. So what happens is that much of what we know and behave is getting sifted to us through propaganda. The propaganda machine. That's what the brother's speaking on. He's talking about one tool. The media machine. But this thing is aggregate. Aggregate meaning multifaceted. You know what I'm saying? Right. So what happens is we being violated through science. We being violated through law. We being violated through education. We being violated through housing. We being violated on so many accounts. When we got to understand something. When we see a police officer shoot one of us, that's because society says it is okay. And we'll say, well, how you gonna say he says it is okay? He does not lose pay. And you know what I'm saying? He gets to sit on the desk leave. They tell him to stay home. So what happens is that any of us who's been in the workforce, if you are getting paid to stay home, that is a blessing. So what happens is that they not learning a lesson when they shooting us, because it's okay. So we have to understand that we have to address our appearance, our imagery. You know what I'm saying? Our imagery is being distorted for $1 million, for a few shekels, for a few other people. But the masses of us are unemployed. The masses of us are racial profile. The masses of us are discriminated against housing, primarily by the images that the society sees of us. So, and our children don't respect us, because although we might be walking around by being able to purchase things, they know we don't have any power. They see we don't exercise any power. They see that the teacher has more power than you. They see that the doctor has more power than you. The policeman has more power than you. So when they start looking at power, we all seek power. Even in relationships, what are we seeking? Power. Women want to seek power. A man want to seek power. We're a strong woman. So the children want to seek power too. And they realize as a group of people that we are powerless. And until we start cooperating together so we can create our own corporations, then the children can continue to want to shift towards the power. We have to start creating the power amongst each other. And that power comes from respect. And that's the first important thing we have to do, is respect each other. Because once we start respecting each other and not having these superficial facades, because that's what we're giving our kids, these superficial facades that saying, you know what, put this on, this makes you special. God made you special. The fact that you have breath and life in your body makes you special, and you have the potential to do anything that you can in this life. Because what you purchase, that's money that's spent, that's gone. But the energy that you have in your body that you possess. I've had many things in life. I've had many things, and I've lost many things. But what I've never lost is what I know. What I know is enabled me to open doors that money has never been able to open for me. And what I know has enabled me to sit at tables that money has never enabled me to sit at tables. So this is what we need to instill in our children, because we instilling this cash thing. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? You know, and then we got a ideology. Oh, we hustlers. Well, a hustler always is a hustler. But we turn up from hustlers to customers. Because how we making the money on the blocks, and all we want to do is go give it to this one and that one. You follow what I'm saying? What happens is you're supposed to turn that into some more income. You're supposed to turn that to more income, and then you play with the money. But you want it first to take play, then go play with it. So that's why we got to play people. We got to play children. Because what happens is nobody's taking anything serious. No one's thinking with the foresight. No one's thinking with the economics says ahead the curve. You understand what I'm saying? And what happens is that, and I always say it, I'm like Malcolm X when it comes to Elijah Muhammad. Unique is thinking ahead of the curve. I'm always going to big the brother up because regardless of how he may come across, regardless how much he's sagacious, he is shrewd because he knows how he needs to get to his people. Black people, we like things in a certain manner, in a certain way. You can't preach to us all day. So you got to give us a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You know what I'm saying? The brother's bringing it to us so that we can digest it in the proper manner, so we can take it home and regurgitate it. You see what I'm saying? Regurgitate it to the people that need to hear it. Because what happens is that the truth don't need no support. And when you come in with the truth, baby, it'll slice through everything.
Wait, amen. I feel like saying amen.
I want to speak to what he was saying just really quick.
Oh, I feel like saying amen. Amen, I'm in rock.
But listen.
He spoke facts, man. I felt like I was.
Listen to this though. When you brought up about the money piece and how we're really big consumers. We consume a lot, but we don't own anything. We have the key to everything that you're talking about, the police brutality, having power. Money is power in America, right?
Cash is king. Cash and credit is king.
We have to start teaching economics to our community. And what I mean by that is you can't be walking around here with bad credit, right? You have to have good credit. You have to start there. Then you go get some more credit. And then you start buying up land because they're not going to make any more earth. There's not going to be any more land to be made. We have to start buying it up, and we have to start buying it up in groups, right? So think about this. If you've got 50 people, 50 melanated people, men and women, this person is has $1 million, not even worth $1 million, just has $1 million. And you take $1 million apiece, that's $50 million, and you go and you start lobbying. Okay, who's running for sheriff? Who's running for councilman? Because you have to start at your local government. Right? Who's running for mayor? Who's running for these? And then you go to them and you say, listen, Unique, you want to be the sheriff? Okay, these are our demands. My 50 people with our 50 million will help you get in office. We will solicit our community, get you in office. But this is what you're going to do for us. You're going to stop killing us. That's what you're going to do, right?
Listen.
And also, hold on, pause 1 second. Police officers have to carry insurance. So when you were saying that they shoot us and then they get to go sit at a desk and they get paid, they have to have insurance.
They carry
and a lot of people don't know that.
Guess what? If they don't get convicted, then it's very hard. It's very hard to get that money. Now I'm gonna touch on
that's what I'm saying. That's where the money. Let me finish because here's what I'm going with. The companies that issue the insurance
do a civil suit.
Here's the thing, though: the companies that issue those insurance policies, that same 50 million that you have in your group economic situation, you go to those insurance companies, right? You can buy up all of the bonds that they own. Have you ever had a mortgage? Right? Your mortgage to your house starts off with one mortgage lender. It starts off with one. They sell your mortgage from this bank to that bank. So they sell those policies too. All of the shit gets sold.
Oh, it's just like bad debt. Bad debt gets sold. All that stuff.
I'm just saying, you buy up those policies and now you control those policies. So you have to be in control of it in order to... We're too busy trying to own everything. We want our name on everything. That's not what you want to do. You want to own nothing but control everything.
Facts. Stop giving your kids LLCs for Christmas. Stop doing
that. We don't have the knowledge. You got to do the knowledge.
That's a good point, right?
One at a time. Whoever go, one at a time.
Yeah.
God ain't making no
One
more
of the Rockefellers said that own nothing but control everything.
Absolutely.
You gotta have money to control.
The irony of that? You know the irony of that? The Rockefellers are the original owners of the Dunbar. Right there on 150th and 7th Avenue. The Rockefellers, they created the Dunbar. You know what I'm saying? They created the Dunbar as a front game for affordable housing, right? Then what happened? The depression hit, the stock market crashed, right? And they left the people holding the bag. You follow what I'm saying? So the thing about it is that we gotta understand something. When we looking at stock market and bankers and this, that, and the other, we talking about the real gangsters. Because what happens is, if you're a gangster, what happens is you take somebody money and you don't pay them. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And this is what they do. So what happens is this. So this is how they got on. You follow what I'm saying? So why? Because they said, you know what? I'm taking that, and what you gonna do about it? You follow what I'm saying? So what happens is that when we start understanding economics, that's what capitalism is. That's what global economics is. I go to your country, you got chocolate, I'm taking that. You got rice, I'm taking that. You got oranges. First of all, the name Banana Republic goes back to that man, Edward Bernays again. He created the name Banana Republic, the same place that we go shop at. He said because we had the Dole Fruit Company wanted to control Central America. So when they wanted to control Central America, he went on a propaganda campaign, and he said, you know what? Call it a Banana Republic, saying that the guerrillas are being charged if we don't keep it charged, if we don't stay in charge. So what happens is we have to know the negative connotations connected to much of the things that we embrace on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you embrace on something. I'm from Harlem, right? And all of us from Harlem and New York City, we've gone to the Bronx Zoo. We've gone to the Bronx Zoo in some way for trips, and you know, for some reason, whatever. But we do not know. We are unaware. We are cognizant of the fact that they kept a black man. But a black man living in the Bronx Zoo with a monkey in 1904. His name was Oda Banger. So what happens is when you're appealing to some people for some morality, these people have no morality, because what happens is this was to prove Darwin's theory of evolution. You see what I'm saying? So, and let me tell you something. If I tell you something, don't believe me. Go look it up. Prove me wrong. Right. You follow what I'm saying? Absolutely. So if you look it up, if you go look up Oda Banger, OTABENGA, they made him force him to live in the Bronx Zoo with a monkey. See what I'm saying? So what happens is that we have to, just like the woman said, we have to start creating our own. We have to start setting the politicians that say, because Thomas Paine says this. Thomas Paine was one of the founding fathers of this country. He said that when your government doesn't represent you, then you need to go get a new government. You understand what I'm saying? He wrote this book called The Age of Reason. You understand what I'm saying? And this was a Caucasian brother. So what happens is that we as a people have forgotten that government is supposed to represent us. They're supposed to work for us the same way the waitress works for us as a restaurant. But what happens is we don't forget.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We don't forget. Because we're not holding them accountable.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I want to touch on something. I saw a comment where someone said that they don't sell your mortgages, they leverage them.
A little bit of money.
No, they sell.
Let me tell y'all something.
Right. I just wanted to clarify the comment that somebody had down there, that they do sell them to each other, right? And whoever's buying them, they're the ones that leverage them. So they absolutely sell your mortgage.
They sell mortgages. They do.
Yes. Because I've owned two homes in my lifetime so far, and your mortgages get sold and they get leveraged. You know where they get leveraged? They get leveraged on the stock market. That's where your shit gets leveraged.
It's in a portfolio. A bank user can keep it on its portfolio.
Let me say these two things. If you haven't watched The Men Who Built America, if you haven't ever watched that, watch that shit, and then watch House of Rothschild, because the Rothschild family is the real gangsters.
Those are the real gangsters.
They're the real gangsters. So if you've never watched those two series and documentaries, you guys need to watch that. It's deep.
Well, I'm expand on that. Can I expand on that for you, ma'am? Can I expand on that for you? I'm expanding on what she just said. So let me explain it, because you dropped the bomb. So let me make it so it explodes. See, the Rothschilds is the dynasty of the Rothschilds are the dynasty of Europe. See, they the old guard. You follow what I'm saying? That's the Bank of England. They the old guard. That's the old guard. See, what happens is that when you came over here to America, Carnegie, Vanderbilt, Rockefeller, and the rest of them, they wanted to build monuments to themselves. They wanted to mimic Europe. They wanted to duplicate it. That's why you got Mount Rushmore. That's why downtown 110th Street look look the way you look with all the columns and stuff like that, because they wanted to build their own monuments here. They wanted to mimic the old country, because that's why they call it over there the old country. Well, if you knew anything about it, it's the new country, because that Alki Boulan, which is the original name of Africa, is the old country. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what happens is them Carnegies, the Vanderbilts, and the rest of them, they came and they manipulated. And how did they get on though? They got on through technology.
Yes.
They got on through technology. They got on through gasoline, through electricity, with Nikola Tesla and the rest of them. You follow what I'm saying? They got oil. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's steel. Because what happens is, what he started doing, they started building cities. If you go to old buildings right now, you'll see Carnegie Steel in the buildings.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So what happens is that we, you know what I'm saying? We got to understand that we were the last. They already milked the cow. The cow only got nothing but squirts left. They milked the cow by the time we came in. Even in New York City, all of the industries are already taken by certain groups of people. You know what I'm saying? You know, certain groups of people, I'm not going to name them. They look lighter than us, but they got the fashion industry, the dentist industry, the law industry, the hospital industry, whatever industry. Well, by the time we got here, there was nothing left. They said, y'all be cab drivers and mop the floor. But what happens is that when they brought in immigration, see what happens in 1964, they passed the Immigration Act, right? But in 1965, in 1964, they passed the Civil Rights Act. In 1965, they passed the Immigration Act. So what happens when we get mad and say, well, why are all of these people coming over here and doing us? Because they gave them some allowances right behind when they gave you a front game like you was equal. You understand what I'm saying? So what happens is that now when we start understanding what is the reason, why are we in these situations, it's because it's policy, public policy. The policies, you know what I'm saying, these amendments, these things end up being intrusive on our lives. They end up making our wallets smaller. Adam Clayton Powell said, each American respects the law according to his wallet. You understand what I'm saying? That's what Adam Clayton Powell said. So what happens is that we got to understand that this is nothing new. We keep trying to appeal to somebody who knows more about us than we know about ourselves. But we need to understand this whole type, the three branches of government, because that's what the ladies talk about, legislative, judicial, and executive. Because what happens is that these are the things that we're cognizant of. We walking around as children. You want to know why these men at 50 and 60 years old will never change? Because they still worrying about what LeBron and them doing. They still worrying about what Kobe was garbage dead. Kobe gone. I'm sorry. I don't even watch sports. But you know what I'm saying? They're still worrying about what these do. They're groupies. So you sleeping with a groupie. If he's sitting there worrying about what this other dude doing on the basketball, he a groupie. You understand what I'm saying? So subconsciously, now of course he ain't gonna say it. Of course, he's not going to say a groupie, but what happens is that I ain't got the time to be sitting there worrying about what somebody's stats is. I mean, even if I enjoy watching the game, that's his business about his personal stats and this, that, and the other. But this is what the brothers do. They've been doing it for so many years. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is if we want them to hold them accountable, say, start telling me what the gross domestic product is. Start telling me what the three branches of government is. Don't tell me what the Kobe LeBron did last night. I'm sorry, Kobe Bryant. I'm sorry. That's the last time I watched basketball.
But see, hold on. Being that you went there, you know they got the big election coming up in Atlanta. Election coming up in Atlanta that a lot of people don't even think about. And,
my girl Mina in Atlanta. Get them together.
The meaning of that election is that decides who controls the purse in America.
Right.
You know, exactly. Who controls the wallet? You know, who controls the country? You know what I mean? Because right now, the cat they got up there, you already know Big Mitch, you know what I mean? He blocks everything. You know what I mean? He got everybody holding strong, blocking everything, so nothing can pass him. So right now, if the Democrats get the Senate, it's gonna be a whole lot of changes, but it ain't gonna really different ball game. No, but it's not gonna really make no difference because the Republicans and Donald Trump got a chance to stock the courthouses. Do you know that 1 out of every 4 federal judge in America was appointed by Donald J. Trump within the last 4 years?
Yeah, because
stop. Think about what I said before we speak, man.
Which is crazy.
The judges around the country.
No, I think
1 out of every 4 judge in the federal court was appointed by Donald J. Trump within the last 4 years.
That's a
That was
lifetime
the
of
infrastructure. He left.
And
That
they
means
don't even
trouble, trouble.
No, what I'm saying is, so America is getting ready to change. You know what I mean? The same way they use the mandatory minimum to lock a bunch of us up. That's how they got the 26 out of me and so many other brothers. They get ready to come up with a whole new magic trick for you.
Yeah.
You gotta believe that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And that's what he tried to do. That's what he wants to do.
1 out of 4 was appointed by him, and every last one of those 1 out of 4 is Republicans, is conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You understand what I'm saying? Who cares about the purse only? You understand? And the president produced purse for the minority.
Wasn't it like 200 judges or something like that? What was the number?
Nah, he put in over 200. You know what I mean? He put Donald Trump put in over 200.
Right.
That's
the point is,
and the judges interpret the law. The judges interpret the law.
Was appointed by the conservatives.
233.
Now, hold up. Now think about the other judges. How that was already
233 judges.
You understand? Just think of those judges. You know what I mean? So some of those are Republicans too. So majority of the judges is against us. So you go in front of these people what you want to in 2021 forward.
Right. Because even with him going, his infrastructure is still in place. And that's how he said
it. Because like I said, my case got overturned back on June 1st, 1999. The Supreme Court quoted my case, unique versus Wainsworth Hall, got overturned. You know what I mean? And shouldn't be doing a kingpin charge. That was back in 1999. You know what I mean? And them people came to see me and said, we'll think about honoring that, but we need to know what really happened with you and your brother down there in Virginia and up and down the East Coast, because you never said nothing and your brother's dead. You know what I mean? And being that I wouldn't tell them nothing, they said, well, you fight it with the court. I fought it to the court, and the court said, you're right. But there's no vehicle to allow you to bring your papers in front of me so I can let you go. But you should be released. They told me in writing you should be released in 1999. But there's no jurisdiction to give them the power to release me. But I'm innocent of violating the statute and I should be released. Wow. Where do I go if I can't go to your court? They had me, you check my name in any computer every year.
How was that possible?
I was impossible because they do what they want.
You do what they want.
That's
Once they say it, all you can do is fight it and take it to the next court and the next court and the next court and the next court. For 20 years, I filed almost 60 motions to get my freedom.
Yeah.
How hard I fought to get here to sit on this platform. That's why I said I want to keep it positive.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? 1999, you know what I mean? And say, but we don't have jurisdiction to hear it to put you on the street, actually. But, you know, you all innocent of being a kingpin. You know what I mean? I didn't even have a drug. I never got arrested for something in my life, but they charged me for being a kingpin. I never got arrested for selling drugs a day in my life, but they charged me for being a kingpin. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, well, the kingpin says that it's a continual criminal enterprise. You need 3 or more drug violations for it to be a series. You said it's a continuous series of violations. I don't have any. So where is my series? If there's no series of drug violations, then there's no violation of that statute. It's just common sense.
That's right.
They say, yeah, well, you one of them smart niggas. And you keep fighting in the court. You know what I mean?
Said you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I said you figure it out. Keep chasing your tail, nigga. And if you don't have one, you'll grow one by the time you get out of our prison. You know what I mean? Now let's keep it 100. That's why I said my crazy. I had to deal with that for 20 years. And I'm watching other brothers go out quoting my case, but they said under the United States so unique, you must be released. But I'm sitting in prison watching people go home and secretly quoting me. I had dudes whisper in my ear, man, if that was me, I would kill myself. I don't know how I go to sleep thinking about some shit like that. And that was dead shit. They thinking I contemplated it so no, we could have a conversation and have a mercy killing together or something. But I've been saying, but I've encountered all kinds, and I just looked at them and said, man, it's just real life. They locked me up for the war on drugs. You know what I mean? They locked me up for the war on drugs and charged me as a warlord. Nigga said, they're not trying to let me go that easy. I know that. Let me go to 2 of these programs and show these people that I changed and we try to go around. And that's what got me out.
But Uni, and they're doing the same thing that they did to you guys in the 80s. I mean, obviously selling drugs was a choice, but they purposely flooded the community with the shit for you to sell it. First of all, to pay for the war. First of all,
you talking about Oliver North and that whole Contra scandal,
and then lock you up
exactly
with life sentences, and they're doing the same thing now. Essentially, they're doing the same. It's like they always entice our people into crime because they know a lot of people are poor, desperate, disenfranchised.
They do, because look at the way the black neighborhood structure is set up. Because if you go back historically, you have to look at redlining and blockbusting. You take redlining, you already decide which areas of the city you're not going to insure. Then you take blockbusting, and then you got the plight of white flight. So then you got people dropping the prices in these white neighborhoods, and then you're moving black people in, and then you're redlining those neighborhoods and districts off. Therefore, you're already cutting off the life and everything that's essential to that neighborhood. You're cutting off the sanitation, which is why black neighborhoods now look dirty. You're cutting off pretty much you're cutting off businesses. You're lowering the property value. So now any businesses that are there are ones that locate off of low property values. That's why you got the most liquor stores and the most gun stores within these neighborhoods. Then you got the Asian and Chinese restaurants, and then you also got the Asian boutiques that go into these neighborhoods.
And then we have to leave our own neighborhoods to go to work. We have to leave outside of our neighborhoods to go to work.
But this young man is brilliant what he just said, because I caught on to that a long time ago. I bought 8 buildings in Baltimore for pennies on the dollar, $10,000, $9,000. John Hopkins is building hospitals in Baltimore now, and they're building youth centers. I got Jews leaving notes on my door all the time.
Yeah.
Property cash, I'll buy your property cash. Hell no. I ain't selling.
Yep.
I ain't selling, because I'm going to take that equity and I'm going to go buy me something else. A lot of people don't know. I worked on the stock market. I was vice president at Merrill Lynch for almost 7 years. So I know exactly how the market works and how they play and this and that. Now I'm going to tell you a new thing. A lot of brothers is getting involved with Bitcoin and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I can send you all an article. The FBI has just developed a task force to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency because they see too many of us getting involved in it. They can't track the transaction.
Nope.
So defeating the purpose of what cryptocurrency is made for in the first place.
The IRS is setting a trap for the Bitcoin buyers as well. The IRS is. I read that article yesterday. The IRS is getting involved too.
So what I do, I bought Bitcoin, I bought XRP, I bought all that shit, but I'm going to pay my taxes when I cash that out. You see, you're going to say something about property and stuff and land. I done had 3 of my mortgages sold already. But I was locked into an interest rate where they couldn't change it, so they just keep selling that. They just keep selling it, and they reinvest the money.
Right.
So what we have to do, right, as a people, like we're all here politicking collectively, we need to figure out a way where we can start some kind of investment club.
It's too much talking. That's all we really do.
All buy property and go sit on it. I don't care if it's a shelter or building. Just pay the taxes and sit on it.
You know what?
God ain't making
no what? Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this that was so sickening. Like you said, Rob, it will make, number one, I think that the other color folks, they are very intimidated by us. We are a powerful people that just do ignorant shit sometimes. Everybody did those scams this summer, PPP.
Oh, they go down.
Grant money, right? Everybody did it. You know what I'm saying? No, but the thing that ain't what I'm talking about. You got the money, and Cartier was so. My girlfriend told me Rodeo Drive looking like.
No, you're not lying. It looks like
Rodeo Drive. They don't what I'm saying, like, yo, y'all got all that money and gave it back to Chanel, Cartier. Like, oh, yo, that's that igga shit. The N word, I can't. It boils my blood.
But that's how they program us.
They bank on that.
To stunt.
They know we're gonna do that though. They know that's what we're gonna do.
They program us. They program us.
They know that. Think about it. It literally dates all the way back to slavery and the system of slavery. Because think about it. When you take a person away from their own culture and then you pretty much implement into them, slaves are only given good clothes on Sundays. That was mental. So therefore, that's ingrained in us that we think success or a certain status is limited to what we wear. That's why we literally make up the most dollars. The black dollar makes up the most in regards to spending.
our products.
How do
And
you
I'll be
say
the first.
masses is
I'm
Let me
guilty
tell you
of
what,
it.
if we held our dollar back, they need our money. We are the biggest consumers.
Yes.
If we held our money back, that would be so much power taken away from those people. I have no idea. If we was to put all that money together that everybody got back in the summer,
right.
yo, we would be a powerful people to be able to own our own shit and take back some type of control. We gave them, they gave all that money back to the white folks. It's crazy. Crazy.
You know how my father made his come up?
You're gonna be fly in eviction court next year.
You know how my father made his come up, and I wish
because your rent ain't paid.
I wish I'd have listened to him when I was getting all that money. My church, Abyssinian Baptist Church, was begging people. They were selling shells to brownstones for $100. They were selling shells to brownstones for $100 in Harlem. My church was begging people to do it. My father bought 10 of them joints.
Wow.
Because he was smart. So he was smart. So we got to reinvest and we got to stop spending our money. We're the biggest consumers. I'm guilty of it. I got all
young.
But I can
listen. I was like 2021.
Exactly.
Yo, I wish.
You know, I don't have any kids.
The thing about it is that
and I don't have any
have
kids.
assets
I tell my sister, you buying your kids all this Balenciaga and all this, you feeding them all this fetishes and shit. They can't afford that. The motherfuckers can't even read or write.
Exactly.
That's real, but that's
so you setting them up for failure.
Yeah.
But sociology has a name for that. See, a lot of times we always say
exactly.
We say that, but it's called present orientedness. We can't prepare for the future. We so caught up with today that we can't prepare for the future. See, the thing about it innately is black people, we like to look nice. That's a given. We like to look nice. But the thing about it is the fact that we have a lack of preparation for the future is the most detrimental attribute of that behavior. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not preparing our kids for the future. We're not creating any wealth. We're not creating strong communities. You know what I'm saying? So that's the exact problem. We don't understand that they already have us figured out. We got to figure it out ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Once we start figuring it out ourselves, then we'll be able to make the application to talk about fixing what's wrong in our community. But because we don't take enough time, it's just like us. We sitting here on this panel talk about. And relationships, we need to learn ourselves as individuals before we start getting into a relationship, right? Well, there's also the thing called group psychology. We need to understand ourselves as a group of people before we start evolving ourselves and things that we're not aware of or don't understand. And then once we start understanding, when we start have a greater understanding, then we'll know what to involve ourselves with and what not to involve ourselves with. Because what happens is in the black community, it's 3 different income brackets in the black community. You got the poor, you got the working class, and then you got the upper class. What happens is these three classes are not on the same page. So they don't have the same ideology. They don't have the same modality. So and they don't have the same information. See, what happens is a lot of these people who don't have the information. You have to be informed to make better decisions. Intelligence is that when you hear the government talk about we have intelligence, that just means they say we have information. So the better informed you are, the better decisions you're making. So what happens is we have a people, we have to start bridging that gap. We have to start bridging intergenerational gaps about what Unique is doing right now, bringing the different generations together, and we have to start bridging those economic gaps because we sitting there. A man named E. Franklin Fraser wrote a book called The Black Bourgeoisie, and in his book, The Black Bourgeoisie, he said, unfortunately, the people in this upper income bracket live in a land of make believe. They live in a land of make believe because although they might be able to make money in this other culture, they're not accepted by them. And then when they come back to us, they're not accepted by us, so they're in a limbo. They're in a catch-22 because they're not accepted by the culture that they live in and work in, and they're not accepted by the culture that they birth from. So we got to understand something. We got to balance that out.
You know, we also touched on something. Unique touched on something about
your mic.
I said, what are some solutions? Let's start with Rob. What are some solutions to these issues that we
Black unity?
You touched on it.
We have to be realistic within solutions because solutions. I believe within solutions work and operate on a spectrum, the same way intelligence does. So within things on a spectrum, one of my mentors and like one of my OGs taught me this. We weren't made to live in this house. We weren't made to live in America. That's the first thing that we have to realize. So one thing that we have to do is we have to know how to paint a room without adding certain pictures to it. There are some things that are not going to be accomplished within this generation. So therefore, we have to focus on things that are tangible and applicable to this generation, and most of all, applicable to ourselves. So one of the first things that you can do to help people as a whole is to help yourself as an individual. There are too many people in this generation of consciousness and Black consciousness who think they can educate and help a people without having any assets or securities for themselves. That's the first thing that has to be done. That's where we get a lot of these false prophets and a lot of these people who don't really have any direction of where they're going. Being pro-Black is great. Black unity is what we need, but you have to have that Black unity within yourself, the consciousness and awareness of yourself. You have to be accountable within your own spending. Realize that your Black dollar is a part of the Black dollar that makes up the trillions of dollars that go into this country. So therefore, the first thing you have to do is implement the discipline you would like to see in your people within yourself. We cannot keep trying to implement the discipline of all of these people and thousands of people, but yet we still want to go buy the next pair of Jordans. We still want to go buy the next pair of tennis shoes. We still want to buy TVs. You still want to participate in Black Friday and all of these things that weren't originally created for you in the first place. So the first thing that has to be done is a financial discipline within oneself. Set a budget for yourself.
Amen.
Train yourself. Discipline yourself for your budget. Stop being used to instant gratification, because that's one thing that every generation of Black people has fallen victim to, is the instant gratification that we need, but not the instant gratification that we want. We want everything. We want too much. We want things that have designer brands, but we will still not go into our own communities and invest in those same things because they're too expensive. No, they don't have the notoriety that the system has placed on you. The notoriety that you get from the media saying, I need a new Chanel bag, is the same notoriety that's going to make you look down on your brother or sister who is selling the exact same thing and probably at a better quality or even give it to you at a better price. So the first thing we have to do before we can start trying to address everybody is start addressing things within ourselves. We cannot apply everything to everybody. You have to be the own change within yourself. You can't expect it from everybody else. So the first thing that I believe is starting from the ground up. You may be financially literate. Just because you have a degree does not mean that you're made to speak for our people. And that's something that a lot of people aren't really going to like. But as a business student, I'm not relying on my degree. I'm relying on the information I'm getting from my elders and my experience. So therefore, the first thing I'm going to do is continue working on my own financial discipline.
What school did you go to?
Each one, teach one. And before you can teach somebody, you need to show yourself that you can hold yourself accountable. Because if we don't have pillars within our community. We have a lot of nice statues within our community. We don't have pillars within our community right now that we can build off of. Because for one, we have too many different ideologies floating around. We have too much pride floating around where everybody thinks that their belief system is correct. Nobody's trying to come together. That's why you can preach Black unity for days, but that doesn't mean anything. You can get opposing sets in the city to tie flags and bandanas, but as long as those two little homies are still beefing over that issue that happened a couple weeks ago, there is no such thing as unity. It's a facade of unity. So therefore, we need an actual concrete foundation of unity before we can start applying everything to everybody else. So the first thing you have to do is take accountability for yourself. Realize, how have I added to the system that's aided in my oppression financially? What are you doing? What irresponsible financial decisions are you making? Fix them, and then tell somebody else and walk them through the process. Be patient, because this is not going to happen overnight. When MLK had us shutting down the bus system, that was Black unity because we all knew what we wanted. There are too many people who are like, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. There is no common goal. Black unity cannot be the only common goal. You can find Black unity. There is Black unity, but there's not enough Black awareness and Black accountability that we're taking for each other, because we all deflect every single thing that comes towards us. So the first thing we have to do is look at ourselves and not our people. That's one of the best solutions that we can do, is applying things to ourselves first.
And I agree with that wholeheartedly. That's why, like I said,
and being accountable, absolutely.
When I came home,
absolutely,
I took responsibility for my own actions. You know what I mean? I know what I did. You know what I mean? And I made sure that I let it be known that I know I poisoned the community. I know I destroyed the community. And I know I was a menace to the community. You know what I mean? But, you know, I laid down for 26 years. And I rehabilitated myself and I got myself an education. I came out with something to offer. You know what I mean? To, you know, instead of just sitting there on some, you know, spent all that time and didn't get anything out of it. You know what I mean? To me, I would feel like I lost. You know what I mean? So even though I sacrificed 26 years, I believe I won. You know what I mean? Because I'm out here, you know, and I feel that I touched someone. I've got a lot of positive DMs. I got backed up DMs. You know what I mean? From young men and women who hit me up that, you know, they feeling what I'm doing, you know, and, you know, that's why I push forward. But, you know, it's like crazy. So let's get back where we was at. Now, what they say, oh my gosh, this guy has me feeling away. Like, what do we next after the accountability? Like, he has me ready to start a different kind of movement. You know what Big Michael said. You know
what we do next? What we do next? Oh,
yeah. Go ahead, huh?
But Unique, you raised a good point.
Let me tell you something. This is what it is, right?
The last time before Mike went, let the Rob go.
You raised a good point about what's going on in Georgia and stuff. We got to get out there and vote and put the right people in office. I just finished beefing with a homie. He did, I think, like 20 joints in the state. He got all his rights restored, and he's worried about, well, I want to get my firearms right restored. I'm like, yo, dude, go vote. You know, people died for us to vote. Go vote. We got to get out there and we got to vote these son of a guns out of office. That's the first thing we got to do. Because if we don't have the right people in the office that's going to walk the walk and talk the talk to us, we are screwed. The young man talked about financial accountability and all that stuff. That's important too. But we got to make sure that we go out and exercise our right to vote and we get the right people in office. Unique, I think you should run for borough president of Manhattan. I'll support you on that campaign. For real, we got to go out and vote, man. We got to go out and vote, and we got to get the right people in place. Let me tell you something. I'm not 100% for Kamala Harris because I see how many black men she crucified as a prosecutor, put in jail. But it was better than what we had. So we got to work with that. We got to work the vote and get our own people in office. If we don't exercise our right to vote, then we can forget about it, man, because we're getting that much at the table, and we got to take it before they take that away from us too, so we can get our path forward.
Especially local elections.
The voting accountability is important, and the voting is important, but we must increase our financial literacy. We have to do that.
Yes. Hold on. Let me say this. Pause. Let's take this to the root of all of that, man. Mm-hmm. Let's take to the root of all of that. You know, I'm gonna take it somewhere else. Right now, Mina, right?
Yes.
What you're saying is correct, but those same finances is gonna bring forth funds, right? Right?
Power, though.
Money, funds. It bring forth money.
But more important than that, power.
But that's the point that I'm making. It brings forth money. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying just go be greedy and buy things. I'm saying strategically, you leverage it. You leverage your money. Okay, please let me finish.
Now, what I'm saying is that's going to bring forth money. You understand what I'm saying? That money is power. That power that you need, you know what I mean, is a lawmaker, is a legislator, someone that writes the law for how your money will be used to be beneficial to get you the bag for your great-great-grandkids. That's what the money is supposed to do. It goes into legislation. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
How powerful this is. And I'm going to give you all a quick one. I shouldn't even go here. I'm going to go here real quick because I like this panel. This is a really intelligent show from some grown folks talk. This is some real grown folk political talk. Now, Donald Trump is getting ready to leave office. He's got a thing where he's raising money to fight that it was an illegal election to go towards his campaign. He lost the election. He has no more financial campaign. But right now, he has $270 million that they gave him, and that was 2 days ago. So who knows what it is now, but that's going up. You understand what I'm saying? So now he has about $300 million sitting there that he got in campaign donations that he could use to pay himself and his family, buying a brand new jet, a brand new mansion, wherever they want, and say that they need to live there to run that campaign organization. You know what I mean? That they get ready to put forward. So he got that $270 million. But that's nothing. What makes him more dangerous to America? What makes him more dangerous right now to America? You know what I mean? Is that when he gets out of office, because right now it's no longer a Republican party, it's a Donald Trump party. Whoever he says vote for, they vote for. Whatever he say do, they do. You already see all those congressmen sign on to the bill and all that to let it be known that they know they're wrong, but they're gonna sign on anyway because he's gonna do whatever he say do. Because he's the man. Now he's leaving office, but he's not leaving Washington D.C. He got $270 million. That if any one of those politicians and any one of those senatorial, places or whatever don't want to comply with whatever him and his friends and his party wants, the Republican, the Trump party wants, he's going to take some of that $270 million, which is a lot of damn money, you know what I mean, even for campaigning, you know what I mean, and put that into putting somebody else about his agenda, even though he's not in Washington, D.C.
That's my point.
Washington, D.C.
Right, so we agree.
And, oh hell yeah, I'm not here to disagree. That's why I sat back and y'all my guests. I know all this crap. I tell you, that's some crap. I know all this crap. Don't think I'm no dummy. I might play.
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah,
Stop it.
Yeah, but on some real talk. So right now, so y'all fully understand when he walks out on the 20th. You understand what I'm saying?
He got that war chest.
Let's hope he walks out. But now when he walks out on the 20th and he goes out there now, it's a whole nother ball game. He still controls all of that because he got $270 million to back whoever he wants to run against anybody, hold a campaign rally and say, vote for him. He's not with us. You understand what I'm saying? So he's still.
If he can manage to stay, if he can manage to keep the District of New York court or whatever it is off his ass, and he can manage to stay out of jail. Listen to me. Listen, he's going to be more powerful out of office than he was in office.
But Mina, they will never indict a sitting president or ex-president, especially a white man. He's not going to jail.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Stop. I didn't even want to get into that, but I'm gonna get into that crap for a minute.
Letitia,
hold on, I'm gonna get y'all some crap. Just listen so you understand what's going on. New York State,
Letitia on his ass.
Hold on for 1 minute. New York State don't have anything to do with the federal government or attorney
charges though.
Period.
He has state charges.
Now the issue that New York State got with Donald is that when Donald walked into office on January 20th, you know what I mean? 2017, first thing he did was fire every single New York prosecutor on the list. All of y'all fired. I don't care who you are, you fired. Because y'all was down with Obama with that clemency thing, get rid of that. Now all of y'all fired. And they for what? They're like, man, because y'all are Democrats and y'all against us. And that's how he went and said it's the Republicans against the Democrats.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now when he did that, now we got that going. So you know who's he done fired all of them, and they still got loyal people that they brought in from other places. That's just FBI agents, and those are men in blue.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they feel bad for what their people did. So the feds can't tell the state to clear anything. And you got to remember, he disrespected every branch of government in the United States. So he really don't have the friendship like
absolutely.
That. So all that what they did with other presidents, that's one thing. But like I said, bottom line is, no other president ever disrespected the Supreme Court chief judge.
Well, we lost Unique Chi-Chi.
The district court judge, the appellate court judge, you know what I mean? The attorney general's office, you know what I mean? He disrespected
Chi-Chi.
You know what I mean? So I mean, right now he don't have that friendship that he would have, in other places. Put him up, yeah. So that's where we at. But I mean, don't get it twisted, man. That money is to put legislators in office that wants to make laws that fits your lifestyle.
Right, exactly. That's it.
You know what I mean? You don't care what color they wear. You don't care about nothing. You care about, yo, you gonna do something to make sure I get more money so my great-great-grandkids, I ain't gonna deal with niggas like Unique. You know what I mean? Well, I don't have to keep them around the hood and things like that. I can go open a nice project. I mean, you know, nice community center in the suburbs. You know, what are you gonna do for me?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But you gotta say that in the big house. I don't want to shut it down. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Oh no! Listen, man, you shut it down for real because you gave them the game. You know what I mean? The thing about it is that's the game we really understand. Because what happens is that when we talking about the money in the United States government, they just created $2 trillion out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And then they gave us $1,200. You know what I mean? So what happens is that, you know, poverty is here because they create poverty. They just show you they can alleviate it. You know what I mean? But it's here because they want it here. Because what happens is when you have hungry people, you're able to manipulate them. That's part of what the French Revolution was about. You follow what I'm saying? They teach us the French Revolution, right? Because what happens is you got Robespierre. You had a whole bunch of fussing going on in the government. You follow what I'm saying? But what happens at the same time, you had the people starving. So they always run, you know, as long as the government can fight and this, that, and the other, let them fight. But you got to make sure that the poor people eat. Because if the poor people don't eat, then they going to come for blood. So they give us a little pittance. They give us a small little this, that, and the other, just so we won't come for blood, just so we won't educate ourselves. Because all of us so learned about the French Revolution, but never knew why. They only just told us about Marie Antoinette and let them eat cake. But they ain't understand about Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Voltaire, and the rest of them. Yeah, and Erasmus and the rest of them. That's the original, when we want to say that word called Illuminati. That's who you're talking about. So you know what I'm saying? These were called the enlightened ones that would talk about, I'm going to go away from the Catholic Church. You know what I mean? So we understand that these systems that we dealing with, you know what I'm saying, is make sure that we all on the same page. Well, that's why they educate us. They educate us because if I live in Florida and someone else is in Oregon, it's a possibility that we might never meet. But if I educate you, I'll make sure that the people of Oregon and the people of Florida have the same mindset. You understand what I'm saying? So what happens is that we've been educated so that we'll be handicapped. You know what I'm saying? So we will be able to maneuver. So we will be able to produce young men like this gentleman right here. So they won't be able to have young women. Because another thing I said about Oda Banger, but when the brother said about the sisters, right, there's a sister named Sarah Bartman. Sarah Bartman, what they call her the Hottentot Venus. They tricked her to leave her country because what happens is that the thick thighs and big booty that women have comes from a tribe. It comes from a tribe in Africa. Yes. You follow what I'm saying? So what happens is that they tricked her to say she was going to be a film star, whatever kind of star, you know what I'm saying? But she became a circus freak. And then what happens is that after she died, they didn't even give her body back to her family, back to her people. You know what I mean? So and they displayed her naked, and they displayed her naked in the museum. So what happens is that we have to understand that if we don't value ourselves, then it will never hold any value. We have to value ourselves. We have to start respecting each other. We have to start learning how these operations operate. We have to start understanding how government operates. And like the young lady said, practicing group economics. We have to start giving our money and send it to product to the politician. Because the politician, what happens is that once you get a politician the money, guess what happens is he ends up giving you this thing called jobs. He ends up making sure people in your community have more jobs. He making sure he starts extolling favors to you. We're more worried about the presidential. What's that?
I said he works for you at that point. The politician, he works for you after you get him in office.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Because he's not worried about votes. He's worried about campaign contributions. You know what I mean?
Right.
We talk about I voted for you. How much money did you give me? You follow what I'm saying? And see, that's the most important issue. We got to understand that this is about how much money we give them. This is how we ever exercise power. This is how we ever have laws passed so they'll be on our behalf.
Exactly.
You got to keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. Obama said every dollar count. You know what I mean? And that's how he won. But then Donald Trump came in like Big Hassan just said. You know what I mean? They said, how much you putting in? So we gonna knock out them little dollar niggas. You know what I mean? Big niggas. You know what I mean? We gonna come up with a big grip. So
that's the baby money. That's baby money.
Can't take little back. You know what I mean? They come with the big back. Now, let me ask you this.
That's right.
But y'all think about the fact. But
That's
look,
right.
Speaking, hold on, everybody listen. While you're speaking, you can't say the C word. YouTube don't want that. But you can say pandemic.
Okay.
All right. So what do you think about the vaccine? And should you take it? Are you going to take it? You know, one at a time without everybody talking over everybody. You know what I mean?
Nope.
It sounds like the Tuskegee and syphilis experiments all over again, and I'm not with that.
I ain't getting it.
I'm getting it.
I'm not getting it.
I'm not telling anyone.
I'm not messing with it.
What I'm asking is,
I'm not getting that.
Why your answer?
I understand your question.
Because the medical system has never been set up in our favor in the first place, and the first people they were actually trying to test the vaccine on were our people in Africa. So I'm not with that, taking that.
Okay, Mike,
that COVID vaccine.
That syphilis move you was getting ready to get on, so they know about the.
You said the word.
All right, gotcha. All right, check this out. So let's run it back real quick. So pretty much like, I think it was. I'm not sure what year it was. So one of my OGs gonna have to drop me that year real quick. But long story short, it was a poor black town, and there we had American doctors who were pretty much like, oh, we'll be giving you these shots, et cetera, et cetera. It can help you with this and that and the third. Long story short, because there was a certain population that had syphilis, but these vaccines didn't do anything but worsen the cases of syphilis. It actually spread the cases of syphilis and was actually going on. Then we go back to the Tuskegee experiments. People think about the Tuskegee. First thing you hear is Tuskegee Airmen. That's one of the highlights of the experiment. A highlight of the experiments, when in actuality the Tuskegee experiments were terrible. They were pretty much injecting and experimenting on black men, and then the Tuskegee Airmen were simply an experiment in seeing how can black men do in regards to the military. That's where the Tuskegee Airmen come in. And the thing is, these Tuskegee Airmen actually turned out to be amazing fighters, and they were actually saving some of these white pilots in a lot of these dogfights. But the Tuskegee experiments and just the syphilis experiments that they did, and then on top of that, the other notorious experiments they did where they would bring black people into hospitals and say, hey, we're going to give you this treatment, when in actuality they were radiating them. There was an older gentleman who actually ended up working at a hospital until he died when he was about 86 years old. This man had holes in his head from the experiment that they had done on him, but nobody knew about it. The medical system has never been set up in favor of African Americans or black people. One thing we have to realize is these medical textbooks that a lot of people read are the same ones that say that black women have a higher pain tolerance, are the same ones that are the reasons why a lot of our black women go to these hospitals and may not come back, which is the main reason why we have to have midwives and we have to have doulas for our black women, because these hospitals are not designed for them. You have there's racism embedded within the foundation of a lot of these Western practices, including psychology. Look at Sigmund and Freud. Okay, look at the regular medical system. Okay, you got the medical apartheid. Look at everything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, in regards to this vaccine, holding off on that. Most definitely, because the first place they wanted to originally test this vaccine out was in Africa.
They did.
There's a reason for that.
Let me jump in.
Jump in, baby. Jump in.
Let me jump in. Because this is my area. I've been in healthcare since '96. I'm an RN, right? I'm gonna correct a little bit of what you said with the Tuskegee experiment. You were on point. However, they had poor black people, poor communities, thinking they were receiving free healthcare.
That's what it was. They
didn't think they were being treated for syphilis. They thought they were receiving free healthcare, but they were giving them syphilis. Right?
Syphilis.
So these same people took the diseases back into the black community because they didn't know they were infected with syphilis. Right? So you were correct in speaking on that, so they could study the pathophysiology of the disease process to the point of death. So not only did they infect the men came back and infected the women, and the women infected the babies. Because we didn't know that that's what they were doing to us. And the nurse that actually made them feel comfortable about receiving this free health care, she was a melanated woman. Her name was Eunice Louise or somebody, Eunice Rivers Louise or someone. She went along with this program. So our community is already distrusting of healthcare. And
who is that? Who are they saying who's the Black woman who made this COVID vaccine? It's a Black woman.
And I don't know if you guys saw this, but Australia halted administration of vaccines in their country. They're not even vaccinating anyone right now because people were coming up after they were vaccinated. They were having false positive HIV tests after receiving the vaccine. They didn't have HIV, but they were coming up false positive. So they put the kibosh on the whole thing in Australia until they could figure it out. Nobody's getting vaccinated over here. So as a nurse, I'm not even getting the vaccine because any research worth its weight takes 10 years at minimum to develop.
That's what it was for the flu vaccine.
Right.
You're going to put something together in 6-8 months and it's supposed to work? No. So my answer is no, I wouldn't take it. My because I feel like because think about this, pushing vaccine, but no one's pushing vitamin D, no one's pushing zinc, no one's pushing elderberry, flaxseed oil, sea moss, exercise, lose weight. No one's pushing you to boost your immune system and get your body together to be prepared to fight. Right. Back in March, when everybody was out buying up all the toilet paper, I was buying up the vitamins and the teas and the ginger. You understand what I'm saying? These people were out snatching up toilet paper. I'm like, what are you doing? You're gonna fight a health condition with toilet paper? Right. Made no sense to me.
Right, we got all the other
there you go.
And so I have a certain, what did he say in Taken? I possess a certain set of skills. I have a certain knowledge base that I'm not interested in that right now. So my answer is no, but I had to kind of explain that to Ski experiment.
Hey, hey Ron, break them pills down, brother. Break that down. All right, give them one too. All right.
Vitamin D.
Black elderberry.
Yeah.
Black seed oil.
I got.
What it's for.
Yes. I got hemp seed oil.
Hey,
black seed oil.
What it's for?
It boosts your immune system. It helps. It helps strengthen the immune system. And some of the you can find some of the
fenugreek for sure will definitely help you. Fenugreek helps too.
And it'll also so a lot of them are antiviral medicines. You just have to pick the right ones. So it helps you fight viruses. It gets your body prepared to fight what it's supposed to do. But they're not pushing that. They're pushing get this vaccine.
Right.
Get your orange juice in. Eat some oranges. Get some vitamin C. Like,
and then we're wearing the mask. All right. So you're only supposed to be in the house around your people. So if I come to Tanya's house, I need to be exposed to them because that's how your immune system works. If you're putting on your mask and you're only around the people you live with, you're suppressing your immune system. You have to be around other people in order to keep your immune system boosted.
To work, exactly.
Yes. And staying in the house. What does staying in the house do? You're not getting sunlight in the house. Right. We need vitamin D. We're melanated people. Right. Our bodies absorb the sunlight. Non-melanated people, their body rejects the sunlight. Right. The sunlight is our friend. We can't get sun by being in the house. Right. Even in winter, the sun still shines.
Good, dude.
Thanks.
I'm gonna be quiet now. My bad.
Oh, you good?
Absolutely.
I just want to say, you guys
that's good. No, we need that information.
I can't
let Rob.
Good information.
I'm going to take it, and the only reason I'm going to wait until like the third phase, and the only reason why I'm going to take it is I have not seen my parents in almost a year. And if that is going to give me that added protection with that N95 mask on or whatever, then I'm gonna take the chance. I don't risk my life with all kinds of other frivolous stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the chance. Now, if y'all see me walking backwards or something like that, my head like that, then you know what's in the back.
Well, I'm gonna say for the record, those ain't the views of Unique and all that. So you make all your we are not down with saying don't take the vaccine and none of that. Y'all do what y'all want to do.
Disclosure, full disclosure.
I'm
Right?
not with it. I ain't got an opinion. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do as yet. You know what I mean? But I ain't in a position.
To each his own, but make an informed decision.
It's very interesting. While the election was going on, certain laws were being passed. They were saying in New York that it was mandatory. You know what I mean?
But I don't know. Like I said, I haven't made my mind up, and I definitely ain't gonna tell nobody no yeah and nay because I don't even know what I'm gonna do.
But think about this. Let's think logically, right? No one wanted to make masks mandatory. They didn't want to mandate wearing a mask, but they want to mandate taking a vaccine.
Exactly.
Think about that.
So I haven't heard that they're gonna mandate.
That's another way they're gonna target the black communities anyway. Because think about it, they're gonna say take the vaccine, your kids can come back.
I know certain industries. I heard like they're gonna make COs, first responders, and everybody take them. But I might just go to Atlanta because y'all down there like there's no corona. So I'm figuring
they just started vaccinating here. I think today, either today or yesterday, they started vaccinating healthcare workers in Georgia this week.
I saw that on the news. You know, and if you notice, if you go around large crowds of Caucasian people, they're not wearing masks.
No.
You know what I mean? And there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? But we can't afford to take that chance. But as Unique said, the verdict is still out. I'm pretty sure that I won't be taking the vaccine. And I'm praying to God that I don't need it because this is crazy. You know,
I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm still just an observer. You know?
So y'all use me as the guinea pig.
I mean, you know, I love you, dog.
I mean, we all are individuals and we have to make up our minds. So just make an informed decision and just know what you're getting into, and to each his own. I mean,
I'm going to wait a couple of more phases and see what happens. You know, so Pfizer made a lot of money with Pfizer because Pfizer stock was like $9 a share. And when I heard they would come up with the vaccine, I bought it right away. Pfizer, they started doing their trials. And they had a few negative reactions. Somebody had like Bell's palsy and some other things. So I'm gonna wait until like the fourth phase and see what really comes out, and then I'll go ahead and make that decision. But I pretty much have my mind made up. After about the third or fourth phase, I'm gonna go ahead and just get stuck.
Well, did anybody pay attention to before the election? There was no talk. As soon as they figured out Biden was probably going to win, now all of a sudden there's a vaccine. See, we have to pay attention to the politics of everything.
But then you got to also look at it, right? When they were talking about making the vaccine, Trump didn't want to buy any of it because he was so dead against it because he was pushing that other stuff. I forget the name of it.
All those crazy drugs.
Yeah, he was pushing that other stuff. So I'm not going to be a conspiracy theorist to say, oh, when Biden won, I think it was.
But it did happen that way.
Just happened to be the timing. The way I think it was just all in timing, because now they all claim Pence got on TV. He took the shot. All these people taking the shots. Now I don't know. It could have been saline. But if you look at the way it was lined up, the Trump administration was pushing that other drug that his boys was behind, and the Surgeon General and everybody else said no. And they got in the back of the line, and that's why we're behind the curve on buying the vaccination now.
Hold on. Money. Pfizer was the only one who did not take any of the Warp Speed money. Operation Warp Speed.
Right.
Pfizer didn't take any of that money.
Yeah.
And Pfizer was the first one to come out after the election saying, well, we have a vaccine. They didn't take any of the money that the government was giving.
Well, that just means that they ain't got to pay them nothing. That means all that money they 100% own the patent to it. But anyway, you know,
I'm not taking.
Hey, but anyway,
I'm surprised Rob takes.
Well, Rob is in a unique situation.
Jamaicans ain't quick to try nothing new.
Yo, I love my parents more than life. I ain't seen my parents almost a year.
Right. Where do they live? Are they local?
In New York. I'm in DC now. I'm in New York. So, you know, I'm used to going back and forth. But when it happened, my mother told me, she said, you be around them people. You don't come here until they get a vaccine. That's exactly what she said. You be around them people outside.
Hey, hold on. There was a question up there where somebody said that if you don't take the vaccine, you can't go to work. Did anyone hear anything about that?
I heard certain industries.
Certain states. Because New York was the first one that they were saying was mandatory that everybody had to take it. It was New York.
So it was in New York. It was teachers, correction officers, and I think certain hospitals are mandating it.
Thank God I'm retired.
Well, that's how they're going to make you take it, because you're not going to be able to get on an airplane. You're not going to be able to enter another country. You're not going to be able to go to the supermarket. You're not going to be able to go into any. You're going to have to prove you've been vaccinated. Think about this. You guys recall slavery times, right? When a slave had to leave one plantation to go to the next plantation, they had to take a note. So if they got caught off the plantation, they could show who they belong to. Right. That's the same damn thing this card is going to be. You're going to have that card to move around. And what they're going to do, they're going to limit your mobility, and they're going to limit your kids' ability to go to school, which is why kids need to be homeschooled anyway, because they ain't learning shit in public school. But that's another story. But they're going to limit your mobility in order to control you. So and force you to take it, because you're going to feel like for example, you feel conflicted. You want to see your parents, and that's understandable. But you may be like, I want to see my parents, but I don't know if I want to take this vaccine. But I want. So they're going to play on our emotion rather than our logic.
They always do.
Right.
Yeah.
I just
want to get what they want.
I just went to Puerto Rico, and as soon as you get off the plane, it looked like something off the movies. They all in the suits with the face things on, and if you didn't have a proof of vaccination, they gave you the test right there. I thought they was gonna pull my eye out with a shish kebab. They went so far up my nose.
Gee whiz.
And I had corona.
They not
time last year. It's no joke. It's no joke. It knocked me on my butt.
It's a very, very dangerous virus. People think it's not real. It's a real virus. I review mortality cases, and mortality, as we all know, means death. So I'm seeing these cases of patients who are passing away from COVID, and I'm looking at what happened to how it ravaged the body. So it is a real virus. It's definitely real.
Don't say the word. Hold on. Don't say the word. Just say pandemic.
I didn't say. I said virus. Did I say the C word?
You did.
I said
it.
No.
I got to stop and get the editor to take that out now.
Okay, my bad. So yes, the virus is real. So people who say it's not real, that's bullshit. It is a real virus.
Ignorant. Yeah.
Yeah, they said a male enhancement.
That's crazy. But I agree with Mina. The reason why I'm not getting it is because they made it too fast.
Right. And initially, when they started talking about it, they said it was going to take a lengthy amount of time to even come up with, something, a vaccine to begin with. So, then they came up with it. It's real suspect. It just doesn't make much sense.
Right.
All right. Okay.
And I don't really appreciate how they're parading melanated people out there as the face of the people receiving it, as if we're gonna say, "Oh, she took it, so it must be safe for all of us."
Well,
I mean, that's insulting.
That's how they do their market research and push people to, "Oh, okay, well, if he did it, he's all right. I'll do it."
Right.
Okay. Well, everybody get back. You get up off your phone. We've been here long enough. I'm tired. We've been here 3 good hours. Y'all go. We got y'all like
this was awesome.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yes.
Very, very.
My girl Mina was here tonight.
Informative group of people. Very impressive.
I'll be in Atlanta next month.
So Mina represented.
I'm in Atlanta all the time.
Yes.
Where do I need to come find you? At Grady Memorial?
Oh, hell no. Not Shade Grady, no.
Yeah, this was Michael, it was very refreshing having someone your age and knowledgeable.
Thank you very much. Follow me on my socials at official Gico. I dropped it in the chat. Like, I really appreciate it for real. Like, y'all can feel free to follow me. official G code. Like I drop it for y'all right now.
I'm gonna follow you.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow you too.
Go ahead, bust that move. Like all I got is consciousness and love for black women. Like that's really it.
And that's it. That's why I brought him up here. I told, hey Mike, let him know. I told him straight up, hey, Mike, I'll be the old dog ass nigga, and you be that good house nigga. You know, but I knew that he'll have a whole lot of good jewels for us, man. I appreciate you coming.
Michael.
You know what I mean? For real. You know what I mean?
Thank you for having me, Uni.
So where's the follow-up, man? Where we gonna take this next?
Hey, babe. Miss T cut you up 101 times. I definitely want to hear you more. You know what I mean?
What did you say?
I said Miss T cut off 101 times. I definitely want to hear her more.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
Okay. Hey, Miss T, you still ain't no damn good.
What? Oh, please.
You know?
Oh, please. Now, this was good discussion tonight, though. Absolutely.
Appreciate Mina for coming. My man, Big Rob, who stopped in. Wednesday. Wednesday we're gonna do the throwback drawing again. Black. Gonna bring some more people on, talk about Club 2000 back in the days, and at 11 o'clock. You know what I mean? All right.
So where are we gonna take this from here? We made a lot of headway, a lot of knowledge. Like, what's gonna be our path forward? We got to do something with all of this.
Yeah.
Right.
I have some ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I'm getting ready to end it.
We going to LA. We following Unique to LA.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
All right.